Chapter 231 The Scarlet Giant Tree. The Great Elder of the Divine Plant Cult. He was instantly a need. It's Qi Qingmo. Qi Qingmo, who was supposed to be in the Source Land, suddenly appeared in the tree cage for some reason. Her Taoist robe was stained with blood, the blood of the beasts in the Source Land, which made her whole body exude a strong evil spirit, which made every living being present have difficulty breathing and tremble with fear. Out of biological instinct, Lin Zichen was also trembling with fear. But more of a sigh of relief. The pavilion master is here. Everyone is saved. He and the little dirty girl don't have to be taken away by the great elder of the God-planting sect. Everything is stable and getting better. On the contrary, the great elder of the God-planting sect opposite said with fear. Why are you here? He had communicated with the leader of the God-planting sect in the Source Land, and knew that there was a mysterious Taoist woman in the Source Land who was killing people and constantly refining the beasts that attacked the human stronghold. Kill gods and Buddhas. Anyone who dared to stop her was basically refined into pills by her. When he learned about this, the great elder of the Divine Planting sect was still wondering who the Taoist woman was and why she suddenly appeared in the Source Land and started killing people. He suspected that it was some ancient existence that had just revived in the Source Land. Now, this murderous female devil suddenly appeared on the earth out of thin air. And she happened to appear in a tree cage. This made the great elder of the Divine Planting sect feel unbelievable and filled with fear in an instant. After all, the Taoist woman had been refining the beasts in the Source Land. Now she suddenly appeared in a tree cage full of beasts. It is conceivable what she will do next. Why do the creatures in the Source Land appear on the earth in large numbers? Qi Qingmo looked at the great elder of the Divine Planting sect with emotionless beautiful eyes and asked. At the same time, she thought and crushed the scarlet vines on Shen Qinghan into nothingness, untying the restraints on Shen Qinghan. After being freed, Shen Qinghan fell directly to the ground in free fall. Seeing this, Lin Zichen immediately released his qi and blood and rushed over. He reached out and hugged Shen Qinghan, and slowly fell to the ground with her. Seeing Qi Qingmo actually saving Shen Qinghan, the great elder of the Shenzi sect was a little confused for a moment. What's going on? Why did this mysterious woman in Taoist robe save Shen Qinghan? What is the relationship between the two? Are you deaf? Qi Qingmo said expressionlessly, I'll ask again, why do so many creatures from the source appear on earth? The great elder of the Divine Plant sect came back to his senses upon hearing the voice, and answered with awe, I am a force called the Divine Plant sect, which has opened up a new biological channel between the source and the earth. Through this biological channel, we spent a lot of time transporting a large number of creatures from the source to the tunnels dug in advance. When the time is right, release these creatures from the source to capture Shanghai City. The biological channel I mentioned, and the tunnel that was completed in advance, are all under the Scarlet Giant Tree over there. The great elder of the Divine Plant sect did not want to die, and in order to please the unfathomable Qi Qingmo, he told everything he knew. Life is far more important than loyalty. One's own life is far more important than the family members who were held hostage in the Divine Plant sect's old nest. Li Suihua, you betrayed the Holy Land will not let you go. A huge human face appeared on the trunk of the Scarlet Giant Tree in the distance, and shouted angrily at the great elder of the Divine Planting sect. Qi Qingmo looked at the Scarlet Giant Tree when he heard the voice. The Scarlet Giant Tree that she was staring at was instantly shrouded in fear. Without hesitation for a second, it quickly hid the human face and pretended to be dead. The Scarlet Giant Tree could feel the power of Qi Qingmo. The moment Qi Qingmo cast his eyes at it, it seemed to have seen death, and was so scared that it dared not move anymore. Where is the Holy Land? Qi Qingmo turned his eyes back to the great elder of the Divine Planting sect and asked slowly. Without waiting for the answer from the great elder of the Divine Plant sect, a human face appeared again in the Scarlet Giant Tree in the distance, and angrily warned, Li Suihua, if you dare to talk nonsense again, be careful of the people living in the Holy Land. Bang! Before the Scarlet Giant Tree finished speaking, its huge body, which was more than 1,000 meters high, suddenly exploded. Like a plump and juicy watermelon, it suddenly exploded with bright red juice all over the sky. It turned into bean-sized raindrops and fell crackling. Also exploded were the vine nets that surrounded the city center, which exploded with the Scarlet Giant Tree and turned into scarlet raindrops all over the sky and fell to the ground. For a while, the whole city center was filled with a strong smell of blood. Being in it was like being in a purgatory, and everything in sight was scarlet. It made people feel creepy and cold in their hearts. Soon, these bright red raindrops suddenly changed direction and flew over Qi Qingmo's head. It condensed into a ball at a speed visible to the naked eye. It turned into a red pill with a hint of blood. It fell accurately into Qi Qingmo's raised jade hand. She put it into her sleeve. At this moment, everyone at the scene was stunned. They were shocked by the scene in front of them and froze in place, stunned. Among them, the chief elder of the Divine Plant sect was so scared that his legs went weak and sweated profusely. He couldn't believe that the Scarlet Giant Tree with an epic biological level was killed in the blink of an eye. After a moment of recovery, the great elder of the Shenzi sect quickly organized his speech and replied respectfully, "Back to Fairy, the Holy Land refers to the Holy Land of the Sun and the Moon. It is a large force in the origin whose main members are alien plants. The Shenzi cult is an organization under the Holy Land of the Sun and Moon. It is responsible for establishing biological channels to connect the Earth and the Source." After speaking, he said with a flattering look, "Fairy, is there anything else you want to know?" Qi Qingmo had nothing he wanted to know, and said in an unwavering voice, "Now summon all the strange beasts you can summon." "Fairy, if I summon a herd of beasts, can you let me go?" the great elder of Shenzi sect boldly asked. Until now, he felt very uneasy. He was afraid that after Qi Qingmo finished asking questions, he would kill him and refine him into a pill. The cunning rabbit dies and the lackey is cooked. This is an eternal truth. "Okay, if you summon the beasts, I will spare your life," Qi Qingmo said calmly. After hearing these words, the uneasiness in the heart of the great elder of Shenzi sect immediately disappeared. Strong people are committed. With Qi Qingmo's words, the great elder of Shenzi sect knew that his life was saved. "Fairy, I will now summon all the origin creatures in the tunnel for you to refine." After saying that, the great elder of Shenzi sect quickly took out a charming black flower from his arms and hovered it in mid-air, exuding a faint fragrance. Once the fragrance filled the air, it quickly spread into all the dark caves and went straight into the depths. Within a moment, there was a violent movement inside these caves. It was like an earth dragon turning over, causing some collapse sounds to be heard from some of the surrounding ruins. Not long after, a large number of unnamed strange beasts, like sharks that smelled blood, rushed out of the cave like crazy and ran towards the black flower as fast as possible. Seeing these terrifying beasts swarming towards them, except for Qi Qingmo and the great elder of the Shenzi sect, everyone present showed fear on their faces and felt frightened in their hearts. Shanghai City, which has been peaceful for so many years, actually has so many strange beasts hidden underneath. This is too scary. If there is no Taoist robe woman with powerful power appearing today, Shanghai City will definitely be occupied by the Shenzi sect. Everyone will be buried in the belly of the beast, with no chance of survival. Have they all been summoned? Qi Qingmo asked in a calm voice, his eyes always focused on the beasts below. The great elder of Shenzi sect, the fairies have all been summoned. Qi Qingmo, very good. The great elder of Shenzi sect, Fairy, can I leave now? Well, you can pass away. Qi Qingmo said, raising his jade hand and pointing it at the great elder of Shenzi sect. When the great elder of Shenzi sect saw this, his expression changed drastically, and he immediately turned around and ran away. However, he had just turned around, and the next moment his epic level body exploded into a ball of blood mist with a bang, destroying both body and soul on the spot. He never dreamed that a strong man of Qi Qingmo's level would actually go back on his word. I will never die with my eyes in peace. After solving the great elder of Shenzi sect, Qi Qingmo didn't waste any time. He immediately pointed his hand at the beasts below and gave it a gentle squeeze. Bang! 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 There was a crisp explosion. The beasts below exploded like fireworks into a cloud of salty blood mist, dyeing the entire land red. The scene was extremely shocking. At this moment, almost everyone was stunned. Everyone has never seen such a shocking scene. One or two people all watched the feast of blood and flowers in front of them with their eyes wide open, not wanting to miss any detail. Some people with weak strength will feel a burst of psychological discomfort, which then turns into physical discomfort, nausea, and vomiting, which is very uncomfortable. Shen Qinghan is one of them. But in order to exercise her endurance, she endured the physical and psychological discomfort and opened her eyes as wide as possible to witness this feast of blood and flowers. A few seconds later, all the alien beasts exploded into blood mist. Under a mysterious gravitational force, all the blood mist floated towards Qi Qingmo high in the sky, condensing into a top-quality blood-bathing pill filled with blood energy. Lin Zichen quietly looked at Qi Qingmo hovering in the sky, and gained a new understanding of this immortal master of great love. Not only does he kill people like crazy, but he also breaks his promises, which is an absolute villain style. However, this female villain, in the records of the ruins, is actually a female fairy with great love. This is outrageous. I am afraid that when the owners of those ruins were building their own ruins, they were threatened by Qi Qingmo with a sword on his neck. Let's go back and give me a blood transfusion. Qi Qingmo looked at Lin Zichen below and said. After saying that, with a thought, a teleportation circle was generated under his and Lin Zichen's feet. As the master of Tianren Pavilion, she can also use the teleportation circle that Su Juju knows. Moreover, it is more advanced than Su Juju's teleportation circle. Pavilion Master, take Han in with you. Seeing that there was no teleportation circle under Shen Qinghan's feet, Lin Zichen quickly shouted to Qi Qingmo. When Qi Qingmo heard this, his thoughts moved and a teleportation circle was formed at Shen Qinghan's feet. At the moment when the teleportation circle is about to take effect. With a thought, Lin Zichen sucked the foxtail that landed on the traffic light into his hand from a distance. Then the thought came to him again, devour. You swallowed a trace of the life source of the nine-tailed fox / Chapter 232 The Thornflower Fairy. The Sun and Moon Holy Land and number 039, S Plan. Seeing Qi Qingmo studying the beast core, Lin Zichen curiously sat aside and watched for a while. As he watched, he also took out the three-eyed demon beast core he had harvested from the storage space and studied it like Qi Qingmo. Give me this beast core. It won't work if you keep it. Qi Qingmo took a fancy to the beast core in Lin Zichen's hand and said it as a matter of course. How could it not work? It can be exchanged for evolutionary resources in the source. Lin Zichen thought so in his heart, and silently handed the beast core to Qi Qingmo. Qi Qingmo is his sponsor mother and his adoptive mother, so he must be filial to her. In this way, if you encounter danger in the future, you can shout out loudly, Mom, save me. Qi Qingmo took the beast core and said lightly, I am studying the special power contained in the beast core to see if it can be used instead of spiritual energy. If it can, I can return to the peak, set up a defensive array with a thought, occupy the land and establish a section. When you have the protection of the array, you don't have to worry about being attacked on Earth. Qi Qingmo accepted Lin Zichen's beast core and did not forget to paint a big picture for him. No, to be more precise, it was to imagine the future. Defense array? Hearing these 4 words, Lin Zichen's eyes lit up. Now he really needs such a shelter as Qi Qingmo said. Not for himself, but for the safety of himself and Shen Qinghan's parents. The parents of the two families are ordinary people. When facing the power of evolution, they basically have no power to fight back. Lin Zichen is very worried that one day his existence will bring disaster to his parents. For example, an enemy holds his parents hostage. Or worse, the enemy directly killed the parents to vent their anger. These are all very likely to happen. Now Qi Qingmo said that when she recovers her peak strength, she can open a sect and open up a shelter, which makes Lin Zichen full of hope. Master, the special energy bodies in the beast core are called source power. Many powerful people on Earth have studied source power and left many research documents. I will find the relevant research documents for you to see, which should be helpful. As Lin Zichen said, he took out his mobile phone and opened a special website, and entered the word source power in the search box to search. Soon, a large number of research document titles appeared on the mobile phone screen. Lin Zichen clicked on one of the research documents, handed the phone to Qi Qingmo, and said, Master, see if it helps you. Well, let me see. Qi Qingmo took the phone and carefully browsed the contents of the research document. After reading the content for a while, Qi Qingmo nodded with satisfaction, very good, the content here is very helpful to me, and it can help me better understand the special energy body of Yuan Li. Lin Zichen, that's good. Qi Qingmo clicked on the next research document and said to Lin Zichen, you should go to rest quickly, I will suck your blood again at the party. Okay, then I will go to the room to rest. Lin Zichen walked towards the room after saying that, not disturbing Qi Qingmo's research on the beast core. Shen Qinghan followed him quickly. After entering the room, Lin Zichen did not lie down on the bed to rest directly, but took 2 sets of clean clothes and went to the bathroom to take a shower. As long as you come back from going out, you must take a shower before going to bed, otherwise it will be too dirty. Unless you can clean up the dirt on your body with just a thought like Qi Qingmo. It took a few minutes to take a cold shower. Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan returned to the room to rest. Shen Qinghan lay naked on the bed, and soon fell asleep comfortably under the care of Lin Zichen's warm feet. When she was in the city center before, she was too tired and her brain needed to rest. Lin Zichen didn't sleep, but lay quietly beside her and read his phone. He was reading the news. He wanted to see the follow-up of the city center. After reading for a while, he couldn't see any valuable information, so he turned off the news and opened WeChat. WeChat was full of red dots, and there were many messages to be checked. It was time to open it and take a look. When he opened it, he saw that almost all group chats were 99 plus chat messages. There were also messages from many individuals, such as Liu Qingyu, Li Chuxin, Zhang Kai, etc. Lin Zichen opened the small group of 5 people he joined when he participated in the special training of the military region half a year ago, and saw more than 10 messages at himself. Li Moyu, Luo Yongjian, Ma Ziwei, all 3 of them were at him. I wondered why he could control the vines like the traders of the divine plant cult in the city center, and asked him what was going on. Lin Zichen replied briefly, the reason why I can control the vines to attack the beasts is because my characteristics are very special, and it is not convenient to say more about other things. After replying this, he no longer paid attention to the information in this group, and instead opened the chat box with the mechanical genius girl Liu Qingyu. When he opened it, he saw that Liu Qingyu sent him a lot of videos and photos. They were all videos and photos of the city center. To be more precise, they were photos of the caves in the city center. Liu Qingyu stayed in the city center to explore the caves with her master, and took a lot of videos and photos along the way and sent them to Lin Zichen. Lin Zichen was very interested in the caves and clicked on the videos one by one to watch. In the video, Liu Qingyu was going deep into the cave, taking pictures of the surrounding environment while talking endlessly to Lin Zichen about his feelings in the cave. It is said that there is air in the cave, the humidity is suitable, and the temperature is also suitable. It is no different from the ground. It is particularly magical. It is said that there are many traces of giant alien rats digging in the caves. It has been determined that these caves were dug by giant alien rats. It is said that the deepest cave reaches 20,000 meters, which is very shocking. It is said that there is an underground palace deep in the cave, and there is a biological passage that was just opened not long ago. It is said that the high-level officials now plan to establish a military zone in the city center and join forces with the Meishan group to suppress this new biological passage. It is said that the city center of Shanghai City will be relocated elsewhere in the future, and the surrounding rooms will plummet. People who bought houses in the city center in recent years have been miserable. After listening to Liu Qingyu's words, Lin Zichen figured out something that had confused him for many years. In recent years, earthquakes have occurred frequently in Shanghai City. It now seems that those earthquakes in the past were probably caused by giant alien rats digging caves. Origin. In a huge forest castle. The leader of Shenzi cult knelt on the ground, lowered his head in fear, and did not dare to make any sound. In front of him, there was a green halo full of runes engraved on the ground. As the green light on the runes became more and more dazzling. The next second, a giant flower bone with a radius of at least 1 meter suddenly burst out of the center of the green aperture. As soon as the flower appears, it immediately blooms into a giant piranha flower covered with fangs. Just listen to a sticky hissing sound. The piranha flower opened its terrifying bloody mouth, revealing a woman sitting in the flower core. The woman has long red hair on her head, and a thorn several meters long is wrapped around her arms. Her body is only covered with a few palm-sized petals, exposing all her skin except her private parts. Master Cult Leader, the mission to establish a stronghold on the earth has failed. The woman held her chin with one hand, looked at the leader of Shenzi cult with a smile and said, her voice was soft and sweet, just like the song of a bird in the forest. However, the leader of the Shenzi sect felt chilled in his heart when he heard this voice. He quickly explained with a horrified look on his face. Fairy, this plan was originally executed very smoothly, but a powerful mysterious woman in Taoist robes suddenly appeared, turning the beasts and the Shenzi cult upside down, which led to the failure of the mission. The woman in Piranha is the Thorn Flower Fairy in the Holy Land of the Sun and Moon. She looks delicate on the surface, but in fact she is extremely violent inside. She often kills for fun. She is a frightening female devil. Even the leader of the Shenzi cult, whose biological level is as high as the legendary first level, is still frightened when facing this Thorn Flower Fairy, for fear of being killed. The mysterious woman in Taoist robes, well, this is indeed a force majeure factor. The Thorn Flower Fairy murmured. She knew about Qi King Mo's existence because she had participated in the pursuit of Qi King Mo before and knew how strong Qi King Mo was. But she only knew a rough idea, and she didn't know exactly how strong it was. But what she was sure of was that Qi King Mo was at least better than her. Because when she was chasing Qi King Mo, she couldn't catch up with him. It's strange to think about it. Why didn't the Taoist woman take action to delay our pursuit when she was escaping? This is so unreasonable. The Thorn Flower Fairy muttered to herself. But soon, she took her thoughts away from Qi King Mo and returned to the leader of the Shenzi sect kneeling on the ground in front of her. She looked down at the leader of Shenzi cult. The voice was still soft and soft. Sir, leader, although the appearance of the woman in Taoist robes is the main reason for the failure of the mission, it does not mean that you do not need to be punished. As punishment, you need to sacrifice a close relative to me. Tell me, of your 9 children living in the Holy Land, which one do you want to sacrifice? The voice was delicate, but the content was vicious. The leader of the Shenzi sect was filled with fear as he listened and fell into a painful decision. After about a few seconds, he said reluctantly. Fairy, if you really want to sacrifice one, then sacrifice Lao Ba. His 8th child is the least gifted one. Since one must be sacrificed no matter what, the worst one can only be sacrificed. Minimize losses as much as possible. After hearing this, the Thorn Flower Fairy licked her tongue and replied with a smile on her face. I knew you would choose him, so before I came to you, I had already eaten him. It tasted quite good and had an endless aftertaste. The leader of the Shenzi sect dared not speak out when he heard this, so he could only lower his head as much as possible so as not to show his anger under the eyes of the Thorn Flower Fairy. The Thorn Flower Fairy noticed his anger, but didn't care. He just said softly as always. Sir, the leader of the church, from now on, the focus of the Shenzi religion will be on expanding the scale of the earth, and will no longer be responsible for opening up new biological channels. When the boundary power on the Earth's side is weakened to a critical point, then we will follow other forces to attack the Earth in one fell swoop. Then, choose a location selected in advance to establish a stronghold. After the words fell, the thorn flower fairy controlled the piranha to close its big mouth, and instantly disappeared into the green aperture. Only the gloomy-looking leader of Shenzi cult was left. The other side. The battlefield in front of each human city. The strange beasts that were originally attacking the human city in groups suddenly retreated at a high speed and stopped attacking the city. Many human warriors who were ready to fight to the death with the beasts were all a little confused after seeing this scene. They couldn't figure out what happened, so that the beasts that had the advantage would suddenly give up attacking the human city. Lord, what's going on? On the battlefield in front of city number 1, a man covered with beast armor looked at Ye Yongsheng on the side with a puzzled look and asked. Ye Yongsheng frowned slightly and didn't answer, obviously not knowing what was going on. Until a birdman in the city flew over at a high speed to report. Lord, the Taoist woman who was attacking the beasts crazily before suddenly appeared on the other side of the earth for some reason and killed all the Shenzi sect and the beasts occupying the center of Shanghai city. After listening to the birdman's report, Ye Yongshen's brows relaxed and he roughly knew what was going on. If nothing unexpected happens, it should be the woman in Taoist robes who eliminated the beasts on the earth side, destroying the plan of the Sun Moon Holy Land to establish a base on the earth. The Sun Moon Holy Land, which failed to make the plan, could only be forced to control the beasts to leave and give up attacking the city. The reason why the Sun Moon Holy Land controlled the beasts to attack the city was to cooperate with the Shenzi sect to establish a base on the earth. Now that the action on the earth side has failed, there is no need to continue the action on the source side. Who is that Taoist woman? Ye Yongsheng murmured in his heart, full of doubts and curiosity. City number 36. In a separate small compartment, Yuan Dongji, who survived the disaster, bathed in a bucket of special medicine to adjust his blood and qi in his body, with a look of relief on his face. So dangerous. Really so dangerous. Fortunately, a mysterious woman in Taoist robes suddenly appeared to save the scene, otherwise I am afraid I would have died under the lightning and thunder of that thunder dragon. If the woman in Taoist robes appeared a little later, I would have to explain it there. It was really a narrow escape. Just when Yuan Dongji was rejoicing in her heart, a woman came over and shouted to the compartment where she was. Principal Yuan, your apprentice is here to see you. Hearing this voice, Yuan Dongji was stunned for a moment, and then her whole face was excited. She hadn't seen her eldest apprentice Luo Qingxiu for many years, and she missed this apprentice who lived in the source land very much. Soon, Yuan Dongji got up and left the wooden barrel, and with a thought, she flicked away all the medicine on her body. Then she quickly put on her clothes and rushed to the central hall of the city. About 10 seconds later, Yuan Dongji arrived at the central hall. In front of a load-bearing column, she saw her long-cherished apprentice Luo Qingxiu. Qingxiu! Yuan Dongji shouted excitedly, and walked quickly to Luo Qingxiu's side. When Luo Qingxiu heard her voice, her eyes lit up, and she ran over like a fly, threw herself into Yuan Dongji's arms, and said in a voice full of dependence, Master! There are many people here, let's go to the compartment and have a good chat. We haven't seen each other for several years. Yes. Luo Qingxiu responded sparingly. After entering the compartment, the master and apprentice who had not seen each other for several years soon started chatting with smiles. Talking about how each other has been doing in recent years and whether there is any good news to share. Master, I haven't slept on your legs for a long time. Can I talk to you on your legs now? Luo Qingxiu asked in a somewhat cold voice. But it was just the cold voice, and the content of the words was not cold at all. Yuan Dongji smiled gently, sat sideways on the bed and put her plump legs in place, so that Luo Qingxiu could rest on her legs as she wished. After Luo Qingxiu lay down, Yuan Dongji looked at her body carefully. You don't know until you see it. You will find that your eldest disciple has become much plumper. It seems that he has grown a lot in the past few years. Girls really change a lot when they grow up. Yuan Dongji sighed in his heart, and his hand soon unconsciously reached out to Luo Qingxiu's chest. Master! Seeing Yuan Dongji suddenly stretched out his hand and rubbed it restlessly, Luo Qingxiu couldn't help but show a trace of doubt on her pretty face. Yuan Dongji smiled, Master, see if you have grown up. Subscribe to Chinese novel audio wave. Luo Qingxiu said stupidly, Master, it's been several years, and you will definitely grow up. Yuan Dongji didn't talk much about this topic, and quickly jumped to another topic. By the way, Master found a junior sister for you on Earth. Luo Qingxiu tilted her head, junior sister. Yes, junior sister, the same age as you. After Yuan Dongji finished speaking, he said, this junior sister has successfully entered the list of extraordinary geniuses. I guess you will meet soon, it should be a matter of a few months. Luo Qingxiu nodded, I see. By the way, this junior sister is called Shen Qinghan. She has seen your portrait and said that you look very similar to a classmate of hers in the second grade of elementary school. That classmate is called Bai Shuai, and her hair is as white as yours. Yuan Dongji continued, Master thinks this is a coincidence, but from the side, you two are also quite predestined. Now you are both 19 years old, and you will definitely become sisters who can talk about anything. After listening to Yuan Dongji's words, Luo Qingxiu frowned slightly, and a vague figure gradually emerged in her mind. Shen Qinghan. Such a familiar name. I seem to know her. At this moment, the memory of death is attacking Luo Qingxiu, making her eyes gradually become confused. P.S. Put the bowl, ask for monthly votes and recommendation votes. End of this chapter. Chapter 233 Do what a couple should do. Master, the name Shen Qinghan sounds so familiar. I seem to know her. Luo Qingxiu recovered from her memory and said in confusion. When Yuan Dongji heard this, his expression changed slightly and he looked incredulous. What's the situation? Is everything your junior sister said true? I have no idea. Luo Qingxiu shook her head. She had lost too many memories before she was taken in by Yuan Dongji. Most things are only vague memories. However, the words Shen Qinghan sounded very familiar to her. Yuan Dongji thought for a while and asked, Does the name Lin Zichen sound familiar to you? She thought that Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan were childhood sweethearts who had been inseparable since childhood. If Luo Qingxiu knew Shen Qinghan, then she must know Lin Zichen. Lin Zichen. Luo Qingxiu murmured, and a vague figure gradually appeared in her mind. Just like when Shen Qinghan was mentioned just now, the face of the figure that emerged now could not be seen clearly, only a basic outline. However, the name sounds really familiar, even more familiar than the name Shen Qinghan. Luo Qingxiu looked at Yuan Dongji and said with certainty, Master, the name Lin Zichen sounds very familiar, a little more familiar than the name Shen Qinghan. Yuan Dongji was surprised after hearing this. More familiar than the impression of my little apprentice? What is the relationship between the eldest disciple and Lin Zichen? Did the eldest disciple like Lin Zichen when he was a child? It should be. After all, this little boy Lin Zichen is indeed good enough. Ever since he was a child, he has been good at both civil and military skills, and he is also good looking. He is an absolute figure in the school. It's normal to attract little girls to like. Yuan Dongji has read Lin Zichen's personal file and knows how outstanding he has been since he was a child. It is not surprising that he can become a prince charming in the eyes of girls of the same age. She even asked herself that if she were the same age as Lin Zichen, she would definitely be fascinated by Lin Zichen and become his most loyal little crush. It's just that the age gap is really too big now, almost 80 years apart, and she's old enough to be Lin Zichen's grandma, so she doesn't have any feelings for Lin Zichen. As long as he is only about 10 years old, he still needs to experience the taste of an old cow eating young grass. After all, a horny 30-year-old woman and an energetic 18-year-old boy are really compatible in some ways. Some didn't think about this for a while. Yuan Dongji rubbed Luo Qingxiu's much-matured body and said in confusion, You are obviously a native of the origin, how could you have attended elementary school on Earth? I don't even remember. Luo Qingxiu's eyes became increasingly confused. Yuan Dongji gently smoothed Luo Qingxiu's snow-white hair and said in a gentle voice. After some time, after the two of them enter the origin and join the team of alien-level geniuses, you may have more contact with them and talk to them about the past elementary school. Maybe you can recover some of your memories. Luo Qingxiu responded softly. It deserves to be a little perfunctory. Except for Yuan Dongji, she didn't want to have any contact with anyone else and just wanted to be alone. Over there on Earth. Lin Zichen finished reading his phone, closed his eyes and took a nap. I woke up after about 10 minutes of sleep. After waking up, I felt in good condition, so I got out of bed and walked to the living room to give Qi Qingmo a blood transfusion. Before doing this, he would have to ask Xing Mo to do it. But it's different now. Now, he just wants to pray for Qingmo to return to the top as soon as possible, set up a defensive array, and dominate the territory. So he became very proactive. As long as I'm not feeling unwell, I can't wait to stand in front of Qi Qingmo 24 hours a day and let the master of the Tianren Pavilion suck it all the time. Pavilion Master, I'm ready to rest. Lin Zichen came to the ancient bronze coffin and said to Qi Qingmo who was sitting on it studying the beast core. Upon hearing this, Qi Qingmo put away the beast's core, lifted up his slender jade legs and placed them on the ancient bronze coffin, and then his whole body fell back, lying on top of it seductively. Bring it on. Qi Qingmo slowly closed her beautiful eyes, and her voice sounded a bit fairy-like. Lin Zichen wasted no time and immediately took out a blood-bathing pill and swallowed it. Then he took a small step forward and sat down on the edge of the ancient bronze coffin. After adjusting to a comfortable sitting position, Lin Zichen put his hand into Qi Qingmo's loose robe, and skillfully pressed it against her chest to deliver qi and blood to her. One hand is too inefficient, let's use two hands together. Qi Qingmo said calmly. Her cognition is truly beyond the ordinary. She feels that the essence of living beings is spirit, and the body is just an insignificant body used to carry spirit. Lin Zichen can take advantage of it. Seeing that he didn't care about being taken advantage of, Lin Zichen did not hesitate to put his other hand into the Taoist robe, holding one hand close to the other to pump blood. Put your hands together and your efficiency will be greatly increased. Qi Qingmo felt the power of massive energy and blood pouring into his body, and a look of enjoyment appeared on his beautiful oval face unconsciously. It's like being greeted by dew after a long drought, giving you a feeling of ecstasy. Seeing the look of enjoyment on Qi Qingmo's face, Lin Zichen couldn't help but feel a little surprised. He always thought that Qi Qingmo had already seen through the world of mortals and cut off the 7 emotions and 6 desires. Not pleased, not to have compassion. I just want to keep evolving. But from now on, that doesn't seem to be the case. In addition to evolution, Qi Qingmo still has other desires. At least the body will feel happy. Not just spiritual satisfaction. Speaking of which, I wonder if a powerful woman like the Pavilion Master has ever had sexual intercourse with a man. If so, how powerful a man would be to be worthy of her? If not, that's amazing. I've lived in perfect condition for so many years. I can really endure loneliness. While Lin Zichen was delivering qi and blood to Qi Qingmo, he was thinking about this in his mind. Time passed like this minute by minute. It didn't take long. Shen Qinghan, who was sleeping in the room, came out. She rubbed her eyes drowsily, wearing a thin dress, and walked feebly toward the living room, looking like she hadn't woken up. But soon, she suddenly woke up. When she saw Lin Zichen's hands reaching into Qi Qingmo's robe, her watery eyes suddenly opened wide, and she felt a sour feeling in her heart. But I'm not very sour, just a little bit jealous. Woke up. Seeing Shen Qinghan come out of the room, Lin Zichen said to her with a smile. Shen Qinghan walked to the sofa next to the ancient bronze coffin and sat down, saying in a lazy voice. Well, I woke up. After saying that, she raised her legs and put them on Lin Zichen's legs, wagging her white and tender feet playfully like a child, and said with a sweet smile. Lindsay, whatever you want to eat tonight, I'll make it for you. Lin Zichen thought for a moment and said, let's fry some braised pork and have a plate of spiritual fruit salad. The violent eagle's status among exotic meats is equivalent to chicken among ordinary meats. It basically has to be eaten every 2.5 days. Is there anything else you want to eat? It seems to be gone. Would you like some alien milk? Then let's get some alien milk and drink it. After a brief exchange of words, the two quickly decided what they were going to eat tonight. During this period, Qi Qingmo was never asked for his opinion from beginning to end. Qi Qingmo is a strong man who has conquered the valley. There is no need to eat to replenish energy like the two of them did. Basically, after sucking the blood, they lie down in the coffin to sleep. There's no point in asking her what she wants to eat. More than half an hour later, Shen Qinghan fried the ruthless meat, cut up the spiritual fruit plate, brought it to Lin Zichen and sat down, first feeding him a bite, and then taking a bite himself, very lovingly. She didn't mean to show off her affection in front of Qi Qingmo. She chose to feed Lin Zichen because Lin Zichen couldn't have his hands free and couldn't use his mental power casually. Enjoyed a simple dinner. Shen Qinghan took the dishes and chopsticks to the kitchen to wash them, then came back and sat cross-legged on the sofa nearby to hit his acupoints, trying to improve his strength. The attack lasted for 3 hours. Shen Qinghan was tired and had to stop and rest. She glanced at Lin Zichen next to her, and her hands were still tightly pressed against Qi Qingmo's chest, constantly feeding Qi Qingmo with energy and blood. This transportation will take at least 10 hours to start. It's really torturous. Shen Qinghan didn't know whether Lin Zichen would feel tortured. But Shen Qinghan knew that he felt tortured. In the past, Lin Zichen was already intimate with her in the room at this time. But because Lin Zichen had to complete the blood transfusion work, she could only sit aside and entertain herself, or immerse herself in hard work, which was a bit difficult. Pavilion Master, can I also try to deliver qi and blood to you? Shen Qinghan watched Lin Zichen's blood transfusion for a while, then suddenly asked Qi Qingmo. Not to share the burden for Lin Zichen. Instead, he simply wanted to touch Qi Qingmo's body. See what it feels like. Qi Qingmo didn't like the power of qi and blood in Shen Qinghan's body at all, but seeing that she really wanted to try it, he lightly opened his red lips and said, since you want to try it, then come over and try it. Shen Qinghan was already prepared to be rejected. When he heard that Qi Qingmo actually agreed, his pretty face was filled with surprise. After a moment of recovery, Shen Qinghan immediately stood up and walked towards the ancient bronze coffin, sat down on the edge opposite Lin Zichen, and raised his right hand with an eager look on his face. Seeing this, Lin Zichen silently took out his left hand from the Taoist robe, making room for Shen Qinghan to experience the touch of Qi Qingmo's body. I don't know what it will feel like. With some anticipation, Shen Qinghan excitedly put his hand into his loose Taoist robe, imitating Lin Zichen and placing his hand close to Qi King Mo's chest. The next second, an admirable touch instantly surged into the palm of her hand, making her secretly marvel that Qi King Mo's capital was so rich that it would definitely fascinate every man in the world. Hurry up and release the power of Qi and blood. Seeing that Shen Qinghan had put his hand up for so long and still hadn't made any movement, Qi King Mo urged him. Upon hearing this urging, Shen Qinghan quickly began to release the power of Qi and blood in a slightly unfamiliar manner. At the moment when the power of Qi and blood surges out, Shen Qinghan immediately felt that the power of Qi and blood in his body was losing rapidly, as if a catheter had been inserted into his body, and the blood was flowing out sizzlingly. After only a few seconds passed, she began to feel a little unable to bear it any longer. I felt like my body was being hollowed out, my legs were weak, and my eyes were going dark. The whole person was shaking and about to fall off the ancient bronze coffin. If it doesn't work, don't be brave and take your hands out. Qi King Mo said in a cold voice. Shen Qinghan's energy and blood were so weak that he started to faint after just a few seconds of being sucked. Qi King Mo was worried that if he continued to inhale, this delicate little girl would die suddenly on the spot. Of course, the most important thing is that the quality of Shen Qinghan's qi and blood power is too low. She, who has a strong body, feels as if she has not smoked at all. She really has no interest in continuing to smoke. Now, she just wanted to quickly switch to Lin Zichen to operate with both hands and absorb the power of Lin Zichen's blood. I'm sorry, Pavilion Master, my blood strength is too weak. Shen Qinghan pulled out his hand and said in a weak voice. He looked like a child who had done something wrong, with his head lowered in a submissive manner, for fear of being scolded by his parents. Qi King Mo said calmly, your advantage lies in your mental strength. There is no need to be discouraged just because your energy and blood are weak. Lin Zichen also comforted him, the Pavilion Master is right. Your advantage lies in your mental strength. Just strengthen it in this aspect. Don't force your energy and blood too much. When he said this, he put his hands into Qi King Mo's Taoist robe again, and once again used both hands to convey the power of Qi and blood to Qi King Mo. Shen Qinghan was actually not discouraged. The reason why she bowed her head submissively was simply because she had not done a good job just now and was afraid of being scolded by Qi King Mo. Fortunately, Qi King Mo's temper was much better than she expected, and he didn't have the murderous nature to kill at the slightest disagreement and directly refine a large herd of beasts. Time flies. It was 11 o'clock in the evening in a blink of an eye. It was only then that Lin Zichen finally finished the blood transfusion work, and went into the room with Shen Qinghan a little tired to rest on the bed. As for Qi King Mo, he lay down in an ancient bronze coffin to sleep. Thinking of waiting until tomorrow morning to continue sucking Lin Zichen's blood, he was ready to enter the source area for a killing spree in a while. In the room, both Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan took off all their clothes and huddled naked under the quilt to sleep naked. After experiencing sleeping naked once, both of them were completely obsessed with this free and easy way of sleeping. Comfortable and healthy, the best of both worlds. Lin Ziai, I feel that the world is becoming more and more dangerous. It is not as safe as when I was a child. Shen Qinghan said worriedly while rubbing Lin Zichen's body with his soft hands. Lin Zichen was also rubbing her body and said in a gentle voice, the current environment is indeed not as safe as when I was a child. But correspondingly, our biological level has also improved a lot, so don't worry too much. The most important thing is that the Pavilion Master is our backer and can protect us. Lin Zichen believed in Qi King Mo's strength and felt that as long as she was around, his and Shen Qinghan's safety could be guaranteed. Shen Qinghan was not as optimistic as Lin Zichen. He pursed his lips and said, I still think it's too dangerous. I might suddenly die one day. Lin Zichen comforted him, don't be unreasonable, our lives are very tough. What if? Shen Qinghan looked into Lin Zichen's eyes and asked. Lin Zichen said seriously, there is no such thing as a chance. Shen Qinghan didn't listen to this. She slowly took her hand out of the quilt, put it on Lin Zichen's face and stroked it gently, saying, Lin Ziai, I want to do everything I need to do before I live. What are you referring to? Lin Zichen asked knowingly. In fact, he more or less guessed what Shen Qinghan said he should do, but he was not sure. I want to do things with you that make us real adults. After Shen Qinghan said it, she felt that it might not be straightforward enough, and then added with a slightly blushing face, I want to do what a husband and wife should do with you. P.S. Set the bowls, please recommend monthly tickets. End of chapter. Chapter 234, Give birth if you get pregnant. Do what a couple should do. Hearing these words, Lin Zichen's usually calm mood couldn't help but surge up. Then I felt my body was a little hot. The qi and blood in the body are constantly surging. He had imagined having fun in bed with Shen Qinghan countless times in his mind. But no action has been taken. Thinking of leaving it until the day of getting the wedding certificate. Now, Shen Qinghan took the initiative to bring it up, which made the desire he had suppressed deep in his heart no longer suppressed. Whether it's mentally or physically, I can't wait. Do it! Shen Qinghan's peach blossom eyes were full of spring water, and the affection in her eyes became more and more intense. She had been waiting for this day for a long time, waiting for Lin Zichen to take the initiative. It's a pity that after waiting for the whole freshman year, Lin Zichen didn't take any action. In desperation, as a girl, she had to take the initiative. Although, as a girl, it would seem unreserved to suggest that I want to do this. However, Shen Qinghan really couldn't wait any longer. Sleeping in the same bed every day. Take a bath together every day. In this tempting environment, the desire deep in Shen Qinghan's heart had already been aroused to the highest point, and she was very eager to go further with Lin Zichen. Lin Zichen looked down at Shen Qinghan in front of him, looking at her naked body carefully. Her skin is delicate and white, smooth and supple, and her upper body and lower body have all the curves they should have, and they are far above the average line, entering a sexy gradient, making her look alluring no matter how she looks. With such an almost perfect childhood sweetheart by my side, I don't know how I could resist eating them all these years. Lin Zichen thought this in his heart, and the more he thought about it, the more he admired himself. Seeing that Lin Zichen didn't say anything, Shen Qinghan thought he didn't want to do it, and his mood suddenly dropped. After waiting for a while, she said, "Lindsay, don't you want to?" "Who says I don't want to?" Lin Zichen hugged Shen Qinghan into his arms and said almost mouth to mouth with her, "Originally, I wanted to wait until I got the marriage certificate before taking the last step with you. But tonight, you took the initiative, and I decided to take the final step with you tonight. Don't wait to get married and get a certificate." After saying that, Lin Zichen kissed Shen Qinghan's cherry lips and immersed himself in the softness of her lips. Shen Qinghan's delicate body trembled slightly, and her feet tightened uncontrollably. After a moment to adapt, she put her arms around Lin Zichen's neck and actively asked for a kiss in response. They hugged each other and kissed for about 10 minutes. The two of them reluctantly let go. Lin Zichen raised his hand and pointed it at the bedside table, opened the drawer, and sucked out a box of ultra-thin natural latex rubber condoms that had been stored for almost a year. This was specially bought by Zhang Wangzhen for the two of them on the day of registration at the university last year. It's a pity that although the two have a deep relationship, they have never been able to take the final step of their relationship. This makes this box of natural latex rubber ultra-thin XX condoms still intact until now, with not a single condom missing inside. Hiss. Lin Zichen tore open the packaging box and took out a small packaging bag like milk tea granules. Just as he was about to tear open the small package, Shen Qinghan pursed her thin red lips and said in a weak voice, "Tonight is our first time, I don't want to use this." Hearing this, Lin Zichen stopped tearing open the small packaging bag. He stared into Shen Qinghan's eyes and asked, "What should I do if I'm pregnant? It's not that easy to get pregnant. What if? If you're pregnant, give birth." Shen Qinghan said without hesitation. When she said this, the expression on her pretty face was extremely serious, without any trace of joking. Lin Zichen was silent for a moment after hearing this. After thinking about it, he finally chose to put the small packaging bag back into the box, and said in a calm voice, "I listen to you, I won't use this the first time." Seeing him put the small packaging bag in his hand back into the box, Shen Qinghan said softly, "Please guide me, I don't know how to do this." Having read countless films, she actually knows how to do this. However, she didn't want to take the initiative and wanted Lin Zichen to take the initiative. She had already offered to do this, and now it was Lin Zichen's turn to take the initiative. Lin Zichen said yet and soon began to take the initiative to take the final step to achieve success with Shen Qinghan, who had been with him for 19 years. The next morning, it was just dawn. Lin Zichen had slept for less than 4 hours, but as soon as he felt the faint light coming from the window, he automatically opened his eyes and woke up. After waking up, he did not close his eyes and continued to sleep. Instead, he quietly got out of bed to get dressed, and went to the living room to give Qi Qingmo a blood transfusion. Before heading to the living room, Lin Zichen glanced at Shen Qinghan, who was still curled up on the bed and sleeping soundly, and couldn't help but reveal a doting smile in his eyes. Before last night, he liked Shen Qinghan very much. After last night, he liked Shen Qinghan even more. He often heard a saying that once you completely possess your partner, you will love your partner even more. He didn't understand why before, but after experiencing Shen Qinghan's possession last night, he finally understood this statement. "I hope I won't get carried away. It's too early to have a child now," Lin Zichen murmured softly. Afterwards, Shen Qing was covered with a quilt, and the air conditioner was turned up a few degrees. After doing this, she turned around and left the room quietly. In the living room, Qi Qingmo sat on the ancient bronze coffin and carefully studied the beast core in his hand. Seeing Lin Zichen coming out, she raised her beautiful eyes as calm as water and looked over, and asked in a slightly slower voice. "After all the hard work last night, do you still have the energy to give me a blood transfusion now?" She knew exactly what Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan were doing in the room last night. It wasn't that she deliberately peeped, it was simply that the movement of the two people last night was too loud for her to not pay attention to. Lin Zichen walked to the edge of the ancient bronze coffin and sat down, saying, "It's just that I missed a little sleep, it won't affect the blood transfusion." With a creature level as high as advanced level 5, he has little need for sleep. As long as you can close your eyes and sleep for a while, you will be full of energy for the whole day. Since it doesn't affect me, let's start giving me blood transfusion now. As Qi Qingmo said this, he put away the beast core in his hand with a thought, and then lay back, lying on the ancient bronze coffin in an attractive posture. When Lin Zichen saw Qi Qingmo lying down, he skillfully put both hands into his robe, pressed them against Qi Qingmo's chest and began to release the power of Qi and blood. In the past, when he was giving blood transfusion to Qi Qingmo, he would feel very calm and not have any dirty thoughts. But after having a taste of it last night, his mind is still filled with all kinds of exciting pictures. As soon as she had too close physical contact with Qi Qingmo, the heroine in the pictures in her mind was uncontrollably replaced by Qi Qingmo. No, I'm so confused. All I can think about is the pavilion master's body. Lin Zichen thought with great sadness, as his whole aura became slightly disordered, which in turn affected the efficiency of the blood transfusion. Qi Qingmo noticed something strange about him and asked directly without any subterfuge, "Are you greedy for my body?" Lin Zichen shook his head and denied, "No." Qi Qingmo, little guy, many times, it's better to admit it openly than to deny it. She has lived for such a long time and has seen too many men who lusted after her body. She could tell at a glance whether Lin Zichen was lusting after her body, and it was useless no matter how much she tried to deny it. However, Lin Zichen denied it and retorted with reason. "Pavilion Master, I was indeed thinking about your body just now, but it was force majeure and out of biological instinct. In fact, I dare not have any inappropriate thoughts about you." Hearing what Lin Zichen said, Qi Qingmo also smiled rarely, "You are already thinking about my body in your mind. Isn't this called coveting my body?" Lin Zichen, essentially they are different. Qi Qingmo did not struggle with this issue, and instead educated Lin Zichen, "The body is just an insignificant body, no matter how pleasant it is, it will not bring you much joy. Only spiritual joy is true joy. When you become mentally stronger in the future, you will naturally understand what I mean. Is spiritual pleasure the real pleasure?" Lin Zichen couldn't understand it, and couldn't imagine how pleasurable it would be. He felt that it was pleasurable enough to deepen his relationship with Shen Qinghan in bed, and he didn't dare to expect anything else. "By the way, Pavilion Master, I have a question to ask you." Lin Zichen suddenly remembered that he wanted to ask Qi Qingmo something. "Qi Qingmo, what's the matter?" "Lin Zichen, when the Shenzi cult controlled a herd of beasts to attack the city center, a nine-tailed demon fox cast a charm on me, saying that I would slowly only have eyes for her in the future and would no longer be able to tolerate other women. This is a bit worrying. Let me see." Qi Qingmo opened his eyes as he spoke, carefully looked at Lin Zichen's body, and peeked into his body to see if there was anything wrong. After taking a closer look, Qi Qingmo said, "There is a problem. There is a love mark planted in your consciousness, but I have helped you deal with it. It's okay. There is something wrong with my health, so Sujuju really didn't scare me." Lin Zichen felt scared for a while, but fortunately he took it seriously and knew to ask Qi Qingmo, otherwise the consequences would be disastrous. For the next time, the two chatted wordlessly. Before I knew it, 2 hours had passed. Shen Qinghan, who was sleeping soundly in the room, had woken up at this time. She walked out of the room with a sleepy look on her face, came to the living room, said good morning to the two of them, and then walked to sit on the sofa next to the ancient bronze coffin. Along the way, her gait was not awkward at all, and she could not tell that she had been tortured by Lin Zichen in the room for most of the night last night. After all, he is no longer an ordinary person, but an advanced creature with a powerful body, especially since the genes of a living dead slug are trapped in his body, and the small wounds on his lower body are not enough to look at. As soon as I close my eyes and open them, I feel better. Lin Ziai, have you had breakfast? Shen Qinghan rested her right hand on the armrest of the sofa and looked at Lin Zichen with her chin in one hand and asked. Lin Zichen, not yet. Shen Qinghan rubbed his eyes and said in a lazy voice, what do you want to eat? I'll make it for you now. Lin Zichen, I can do it. I'll eat whatever you do. Shen Qinghan thought for a while and asked, how about cooking some slug porridge? Lin Zichen, okay. After deciding what to eat for breakfast. Soon, Shen Qinghan went to the bathroom to wash up, then walked to the refrigerator, took out the ingredients for cooking the living and dead slug porridge, and walked slowly into the kitchen. About half an hour later, the porridge was cooked. As usual, Shen Qinghan took a bowl of porridge out to the living room, fed Lin Zichen a sip first, and then drank a sip herself, looking very loving. And Qi Qingmo, lying on the bronze ancient coffin, was as quiet as usual, with no fluctuations in his heart, and he didn't feel like he was being fed dog food at all. In a blink of an eye, time came to the afternoon. After completing the blood transfusion, Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan went back to the room to rest. As soon as she lay on the bed, Shen Qinghan couldn't help but stick to Lin Zichen, and said in a soft voice, "Lin Ziai, do you want to continue like last night?" "Lin Zichen, we just finished last night, don't you feel pain?" Shen Qinghan shook her head, "It doesn't hurt much, just a little numb, it's okay." Hearing her say this, Lin Zichen no longer sympathized with her and began to further enhance their feelings for each other. This enhancement lasted for a full 3 hours in a blink of an eye, and the sky outside the window was dark. After Lin Zichen finished, he lay on the bed and took a nap for more than 10 minutes to recharge his energy. After waking up, he got up and walked to the living room to give Qi Qingmo a blood transfusion. But when he came to the living room, he found that Qi Qingmo was not there at all. He didn't lie in the ancient bronze coffin to sleep, nor did he sit in the ancient bronze coffin to study the beast core. Strange, where did the pavilion master go? Seeing that Qi Qingmo was not there, Lin Zichen was a little confused. Shen Qinghan guessed, the pavilion master may feel that it is too boring to stay in the dormitory all the time, so he went out to relax. Lin Zichen thought it was unlikely, but he didn't dwell on it too much. Qi Qingmo is so powerful, it is normal for him to come and go without a trace. Just treat it with a normal mind. At the same time, in the sky above Shanghai City, a man and a woman were hovering in the sky full of clouds, facing each other, 100 meters apart. The man was Deputy Governor Ye Yongsheng. The woman was Qi Qingmo, Pavilion Master of Tianren Pavilion. While looking at Qi Qingmo, Ye Yongsheng asked calmly, "Did you solve the beast groups in the source land and the beast groups on the earth before?" Qi Qingmo said expressionlessly, "So what if it is, so what if it is not? May I ask what is your identity, fellow Taoist?" Seeing Qi Qingmo wearing a Taoist robe, Ye Yongsheng called her fellow Taoist. Qi Qingmo said calmly, "The Pavilion Master of Tianren Pavilion." "The Pavilion Master of Tianren Pavilion." Ye Yongsheng raised his eyebrows. He didn't expect that Qi Qingmo in front of him was the founder of the blood-quenching technique. No, it was the founder's grandmother. Soon, Ye Yongsheng invited Qi Qingmo, "I wonder if the Pavilion Master would be convenient to accompany me to Kyoto, drink a cup of spiritual tea, and talk about everyone's doubts." The doubts he mentioned refer to his doubts about Qi Qingmo. He wanted to figure out what kind of existence Qi Qingmo was and why his strength was so strong. Qi Qingmo didn't rush to answer, but asked a question, "How much do you know about the source power?" "You mean the source power in the beast core?" "Yes. In this world, there are no more than a handful of people who know more about the source power than me," Ye Yongsheng said confidently. Qi Qingmo liked this answer and said, "Then let's talk. P.S. Put the bowl, ask for monthly votes and recommendation votes." End of this chapter. Chapter 235, Peerless Genius. Lin Zichen. Since the Pavilion Master is not here, let's go back to the room and continue working while waiting for the Pavilion Master to come back. In the living room, Shen Qinghan hesitated for a moment, then suggested with a trace of blush on her pretty face. Lin Zichen was also shocked when he heard this suggestion. "A little filthy girl is a little filthy girl, and this title is really correct. I've just had a taste of it and I'm already addicted, thinking about it all over my mind. Is it okay?" Seeing that Lin Zichen didn't answer immediately, Shen Qinghan took his arm and shook it, speaking softly and coquettishly. "Lin Zichen, would it be bad for your health if you do this too often?" Shen Qinghan disagreed. "We are all advanced creatures, our bodies are invulnerable, how can just a little friction be bad for our health?" When Lin Zichen heard this, he thought it made sense. Yes, they are all advanced creatures with invulnerable bodies, and they also have living dead slug genes that can infinitely repair body damage. It's just friction and can't hurt the body at all. Not to mention just frequent friction, even if you rub it for several days and nights, it probably won't cause any harm. This is one of the benefits of evolution. The idea that excessive sexual indulgence is harmful to the body is a false proposition when it comes to evolutionaries. Let's go back to the room and continue. Regardless of whether Lin Zichen wanted to do it or not, Shen Qinghan pulled him towards the room. She thought that she had served him in bed for so long, and now it was his turn to pay the debt. A married life must be courteous and reciprocal to be healthy. In the room, on the bed, the two of them had just finished deepening their relationship, and they both lay flat on the bed, panting slightly. Panting, Shen Qinghan suddenly thought of a question and said with some worry. "Lin Ziai, do you think the Pavilion Master is so powerful? Will she be able to see everything we do in the room from now on?" A creature with strong enough mental power can sense through any obstacle with its 5 senses. Shen Qinghan thought that if Qi Qingmo's strength was so unfathomable, his mental power must also be very strong. Whatever he and Lin Zichen did in the room, it was probably impossible to escape Qi Qingmo's 5-sense perception. It feels so uncomfortable to live this kind of life under the eyes of others. Lin Zichen said calmly, "If the Pavilion Master wants to do it, he can definitely do it, but the pavilion master is not that boring. He felt that it was Qi Qingmo's indifferent temperament that prevented him from peeking into other people's process of improving their feelings. For the master of Tianren Pavilion, if he had this time to peek, he might as well lie dormant in an ancient bronze coffin, or study the source of power in the beast's core. Just when he was thinking about Qi Qingmo, from the other side of the living room, Qi Qingmo's voice suddenly came, "Sorry, I'm really that bored." Hearing this, Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan in the room couldn't help but froze. After a moment to react, Lin Zichen was speechless, while Shen Qinghan beside him was blushing. A dignified master of Tianren Pavilion actually likes to peek at others in the room to enhance their relationship? Is it so outrageous? After calming down a little, Lin Zichen got out of bed and left the room, walking towards the living room. He saw Qi Qingmo sitting on the ancient bronze coffin, lowering his head to study the beast core in his hand. Shen Qinghan did not follow him out. What Qi Qingmo said just now directly embarrassed Shen Qinghan, making her feel very embarrassed. For a while, she couldn't face Qi Qingmo, a voyeuristic maniac. "Pavilion master, when did you come back?" Lin Zichen asked. Qi Qingmo didn't even raise his head, his eyes kept focusing on the beast's core, and he said calmly, "I've been back for a while. I saw you two messing around in the room, so I didn't bother you." After saying that, she put away the animal core in her hand, looked up at Lin Zichen, and said, "Give me a blood transfusion." "Good." Lin Zichen responded. Soon, Qi Qingmo was lying flat on the ancient bronze coffin. Lin Zichen then put his hands into her Taoist robe and pressed against her chest to transfuse her blood. "By the way, Pavilion Master, where did you go just now?" Lin Zichen asked curiously. After so many close encounters with blood transfusions, he felt that he was much familiar with Qi Qingmo. No need to be as divided as before. If you have any questions, you can ask them at any time. While absorbing his energy and blood, Qi Qingmo replied, "A deputy governor named Ye Yongsheng came to me and said he wanted to chat with me. I happened to have some questions to ask, so I went to chat with him." Ye Yongsheng. Hearing this name, Lin Zichen's mood couldn't help but fluctuate. Ye Yongsheng said before that he and his family's safety would be guaranteed, but in the end it was just words, and there was no actual arrangement. Regarding this matter, he still remembers that sooner or later he will settle the score with Ye Yongsheng. It's not that he is short-tempered and will retaliate if he insists on being angry. But Ye Yongsheng's actions directly put him and his family in danger. This is something that cannot be treated magnanimously. Whoever is generous will be struck by lightning. Lin Zichen asked again, "Pavilion Master, what exactly did you talk to Deputy State Master yet?" Qi Qingmo replied, "There is nothing to talk about. He is just understanding my identity, and I am learning about the source of power and source from him." So. Lin Zichen nodded, didn't ask any more questions, and concentrated on transfusing Qi Qingmo's blood. In the coming days, Lin Zichen basically stayed in the dormitory to give Qi Qingmo blood transfusions. Blood transfusions were given twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening. Prepare for Qi Qingmo to enter the source land next. During this period, Shen Qinghan wanted to deepen her relationship with Lin Zichen many times, but because Qi Qingmo was in the room, she was afraid of being peeped by Qi Qingmo, so she could only endure it. The days passed like this. Half a month later, Qi Qingmo felt that his energy and blood were almost restored, so he simply said goodbye to the two of them and left the dormitory to enter the source and continue looking for a way out. Before entering the source, Qi Qingmo went to the Pure Human Research Institute and handed some lower-quality blood-bathing pills to Lu Juanmu. Just treat it as a resource in the cabinet and let Lu Juanmu make a good reward system and distribute it well. Although Lu Juanmu and others cannot provide help to Qi Qingmo like Lin Zichen, but Qi Qingmo felt that since these people were from his own lineage, they still needed to be given appropriate resources. In the dormitory, as soon as Qi Qingmo left, Shen Qinghan held Lin Zichen's arm with a smile and said, "Lin Ziai, the pavilion master has finally entered the source area. He has been away for at least several days. In the next few days, we can do it wherever we want, however we want, as many times as we want. You no longer have to worry about being spied on." After saying that, Shen Qinghan pulled Lin Zichen towards the room, eager to deepen her relationship with him. In the past half-month, Shen Qinghan had not dared to deepen his relationship with Lin Zichen because he was worried about being spied on by Qi Qingmo. He was almost exhausted and needed to be released as soon as possible. Lin Zichen also smiled bitterly at this. "Why are you so addicted? Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audio Wave." "Of course it's because it's comfortable," Shen Qinghan said unabashedly, and immediately asked after saying that, "Are you uncomfortable?" Lin Zichen also said honestly, "That must be comfortable." Shen Qinghan, "That's right. I'm comfortable, you're comfortable too, and it's not harmful to your body. Isn't it normal to be addicted?" Lin Zichen nodded in agreement, "That's true. It's not normal to not be addicted." "Okay, stop talking so much, take off your clothes and go to bed. I've been holding it in for half a month and I feel like I'm almost exhausted. Shen Qinghan urged. Lin Zichen took off his clothes and said with a smile, actually, you don't have to endure it. You can do it any time you want. There is no need to do it until the pavilion master is away. That won't work. The pavilion master will spy on you. No, I think the pavilion master was probably just teasing us too that day. Then what if what the pavilion master said is true? Even if it's true, it won't hurt if the pavilion master peeks at her. She has been touched by us anyway. No, it's too uncomfortable to be watched while doing that. Shen Qinghan just couldn't bear to be peeped at. In fact, Lin Zichen couldn't accept it either. But if the person peeping was Qi Qingmo, then he would feel fine. There are 3 reasons. The first one, Qi Qingmo is a woman. Secondly, Qi Qingmo has no physical relationship between men and women. He feels that being peeped by her is no different from being peeped by a mosquito. The third one was that he touched Qi Qingmo's body almost every day for several hours. Since he had taken advantage of Qi Qingmo first, he felt that there was nothing he could lose by giving her a peek. Lin Ziai, stop talking about the pavilion master, let's get down to business quickly. Shen Qinghan urged in a waxy voice. Listening to her seductive voice, Lin Zichen couldn't control himself at all, and soon became entangled with her. A blink of an eye. 10 days have passed. Qi Qingmo hasn't come back yet, and is still refining exotic beasts and collecting beast cores in the source. During her absence, Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan worked from morning till night, basically trying every new trick. This morning, after Lin Zichen finished breakfast, he and Shen Qinghan, who was familiar with the taste of food, had just finished breakfast at the dining table when the cell phone on the table started to vibrate. I picked it up and saw that it was Song Yuan who had sent the message on WeChat. Sister Yan, Brother Zichen, you, Sister Yan, have finally succeeded in awakening, and your biological level has reached 1 level. Ziai Chen, congratulations to Sister Yan. Sister Yan, you and Hanan haven't been to the institute for a few days. When will you come over and give some guidance to me, the Dean, and Wei? Ziai Chen, come over after lunch. Sister Yan, then Sister Yan is waiting for you 2 top geniuses to come over. Ziai Chen, definitely. After replying to this message, Lin Zichen closed the chat box with Song Yuan. Shen Qinghan on the side had just wiped himself off and threw the tissue into the trash can. Seeing that Lin Zichen had just been chatting with someone on WeChat, he couldn't help but curiously asked, who is Lin Ziai? Lin Zichen said calmly, Sister Yan just shared with me on WeChat that she has successfully awakened and her biological level has evolved to an advanced level. Then she asked the 2 of us to go over and guide her, the Dean, and Ma Ziwei. Shen Qinghan pouted after hearing this, Sister Yan actually comes to you instead of me. How outrageous! Lin Zichen smiled and said, we are inseparable every day, no matter who we look for, Sister Yan doesn't think as much as you do. The 2 only chatted for a few words, and soon stopped talking. Instead, he sat cross-legged on the balcony and quietly concentrated on attacking his acupoints. More than 3 hours later, after Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan finished lunch, they went out to the Pure Human Research Institute together. As soon as he stepped into the door of the research institute, he heard Lu Juanmu shouting excitedly, haha, old man, I have also successfully enlightened, it is an advanced creature. Walking a little further, I saw Lu Juanmu, who was sweating profusely, standing by the window, panting slightly, with an excited look on his face. Little Toshiba, I used to make you want to stop when I was at the ordinary 9th level. Now I have evolved directly to the advanced 2nd level. Let's see if I don't make you beg for mercy. Lu Juanmu put his hands on his hips and had a look on his face. Shen Qinghan who came in couldn't help but blush slightly when she heard this. Ma Ziwei's expression remained unchanged. Song Yuan, who was inside, rolled her eyes at Lu Juanmu speechlessly and complained, Dean, can you pay more attention to what you say? There are many girls in the research institute. Lu Juanmu smiled sarcastically, sorry, I accidentally got carried away. I will definitely pay attention to it in the future. As soon as he finished speaking, he saw Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan coming in, with bright smiles on their faces. The peerless 2 prides are here. Come on over and share your experience with the 3 of us. His words didn't mean anything sinister, they were compliments from the bottom of his heart. Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan heard this and shared their experiences in the past. Neither Lu Juanmu nor Song Yuan listened very carefully. The 2 of them had just evolved into advanced creatures, and now their minds were filled with joy and they couldn't listen to anything. Ma Ziwei, who had not yet begun to understand, listened extremely seriously. Lin Zichen glanced at Ma Ziwei and used danger sense to peek at her body. Compared with when I first joined Tianren Pavilion, I have made great progress. The progress of a body tempering has reached the completion of a skin tempering, a flesh tempering, and the final bone tempering stage, and the biological level has also evolved to the ordinary 8th level. Ziwei, you've made great progress, it's okay. Lin Zichen smiled and praised Ma Ziwei. Ma Ziwei felt a sense of joy in her heart when she heard this, but her face remained calm as she said, thank you. After saying that, she added, it is also thanks to the blood-bathing pill given by the pavilion master that I can progress so fast, otherwise I would probably still be tempering my skin at the same time. Lin Zichen, the master of the pavilion is really good to us. After staying in the research institute for an afternoon, it felt like time was almost up. Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan said to the three of them that they would see each other soon and left the research institute soon. After leaving the institute, I did not go back to the dormitory. Instead, I went to the family building on the outer campus to meet my parents. When the two arrived, Shen Jianyi and Su Meng had to attend evening classes and were neither at home. So Shen Qinghan followed Lin Zichen home. Hanin, your little face looks a lot more rosy. You are getting more and more beautiful. As soon as Shen Qinghan entered the house, Zhang Wangzhen greeted her with a smile and praised her. As soon as she finished speaking, Zhang Wangzhen suddenly let out a painful ah sound and covered her stomach. When Lin Zichen saw this, he quickly stepped forward to support Zhang Wangzhen and asked with concern, Mom, what's wrong with you? It's okay, it's just that the little sister in your belly was naughty and kicked me hard. Sister. Lin Zichen was confused. Zhang Wangzhen smiled and said, yes, sister, Mom and your dad went for a pregnancy test this morning, and through some connections, they asked about the gender. After saying that, she took the hands of Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan respectively, and said in a gentle voice, come, you two touch my belly and feel the vitality of your little sister. The doctor said that she is like this when she is only 7 months old. The energetic baby is definitely a genius. Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan curiously touched Zhang Wangzhen's protruding belly and found that the sister in her belly was really strong and kept kicking her legs. Shen Qinghan looked surprised, Aunt Xin, my sister is so amazing. Zhang Wangzhen said with a smile on her face, that's right, my sister must be a peerless genius like her brother. Shen Qinghan had beautiful peach blossom eyes and asked in a soft voice, Aunt Xin, has your sister decided on a name? Zhang Wangzhen smiled and said, I just decided this morning. I will follow my brother to name her, and I will call her Lin Zichen. Lin Zichen heard the name and felt his sister's legs kicking non-stop. He couldn't help but wonder, is this sister he has never met before also a loser? P.S. Set the bowls, please recommend monthly tickets. End of chapter. Chapter 236 Enter the Source. Join the extraordinary genius team. Since he suspected that his sister might be a cheater, Lin Zichen stayed at home with his parents for the next few days, wanting to study the sister in Zhang Wangzhen's belly. Once Zhang Wangzhen cried out in pain, he would immediately disperse his mental power to sense the sister in Zhang Wangzhen's belly to see if she was kicking her legs. He observed for several days in a row. He found that his sister was not always kicking her legs. Sometimes she would wave her hands. Sometimes she would pinch her feet. Sometimes she would eat her fingers. There was basically no regularity in her behavior. It didn't look like she had awakened the system and had any achievements in kicking her legs. Instead, she looked like a precocious fetus. Your sister is moving around again. She's too lively. On the sofa, Zhang Wangzhen stroked her belly with her hand and smiled gently. She is already in her early 40s this year and wants a baby, especially a girl. The 7-month-old daughter in her belly is the best gift she has received in these years, no one else. Seeing that her sister was moving around again, Lin Zichen immediately dispersed his mental power to observe. Then, I saw my sister posing like a crow sitting on an airplane in her mother's belly, holding her feet with both hands, which looked quite funny. I hope my sister is not a time traveler or a reborn person, but a new life conceived from my mother's belly. Lin Zichen hoped silently in his heart. If his sister was a time traveler or a reborn person, he would find it very strange and not know how to get along with her. Lin Ziai, the master is back and is now at the institute. He asked us to go over there. Shen Qinghan ran over from the next room to inform him. Yuan Xiao is back? Lin Zichen thought and said, okay, then we'll go over there now. Zhang Wangzhen glanced at her phone and said to the two people who were going to the institute, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon now. Will you come back for dinner in the evening? I probably won't be able to come back for dinner. Mom, you don't have to wait for us. After leaving this sentence, Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan went out to the institute. Yuan Dongji has been in the source for so long, she must have experienced a lot. Lin Zichen was very interested in her experience and couldn't wait to learn about it. Pure Human Institute. When Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan came in, only Song Yuan and Ma Ziwei were in the living and leisure area, and Lu Juanmu and Yuan Dongji were nowhere to be seen. Shen Qinghan saw that the two were not there, and couldn't help but ask curiously, where are the master and the dean? Song Yuan said unhappily, not long after Yuan Xiao came here, he was dragged into a room upstairs by that old man, saying that he wanted to show his prowess and impress Yuan Xiao. Is that so? Shen Qinghan nodded, her pretty face flushed a little. Ever since she had a deep and superficial physical relationship with Lin Zichen some time ago, she has been very sensitive to this matter between men and women. As long as she hears related words, various exciting pictures will appear in her mind. About 10 minutes later, Lu Juanmu and Yuan Dongji came down from the upstairs room. Yuan Dongji's face was full of spring. Lu Juanmu staggered, looking like he was squeezed dry. It seems that Yuan Dongji, whose biological level is as high as rare level, is better. Even though Lu Juanmu's biological level has evolved to the advanced second level, he is still a younger brother in front of Yuan Dongji, who has a higher biological level. Master, long time no see. When Shen Qinghan saw the familiar Yuan Dongji, a sweet smile suddenly appeared on her pretty face. Yuan Dongji also smiled at her, walked to the sofa in front and sat down, and said in a gentle voice, come here and sit with master. Okay. Shen Qinghan sat down obediently. Yuan Dongji looked at Lin Zichen, Zichen, you come here and sit too, I have something to talk to you and Hanan about. Lin Zichen walked to Shen Qinghan and sat down, and asked, is it something important? Yuan Dongji didn't rush to say it, but took a sip of warm flower tea. After that, she slowly said, I met with my eldest disciple Luo Qingxiu in the Source Land. During the period, I mentioned your two names to her while reminiscing about the past. Guess what? She said your two names sounded very familiar. My eldest disciple, if nothing unexpected happens, should be the transfer student you two had in elementary school, a white-haired little girl named Bai Xuet. That Luo Qingxiu, was it really Bai Xuet? Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan were both a little surprised. They had always felt that Luo Qingxiu looked very similar to Bai Xuet, and it was very likely that she was Bai Xuet. But when they learned that this was true, they still felt a little surprised and incredible in their hearts, thinking that this world was really a coincidence. Master, does senior sister only think that my name and Lin Zi's name sound very familiar? Doesn't she remember the things when she was a child? Shen Qinghan asked. Yuan Dongji said lightly, she has lost a lot of memories, and she has basically forgotten all her memories of Bai Xuet. Ah, how could this be? Shen Qinghan felt very disappointed about this. The three of them had a great time at the beginning, how could they forget everything? Yuan Dongji took another sip of the flower tea and said slowly, when you two go down to the source, you can go and talk to her in person. Maybe when she sees you two, she will remember everything. After saying this, she put down the teacup and stopped talking about Luo Qingxiu. Jumping directly to another topic, she said. When I was resisting the beasts at the source, the situation was very serious and I almost got into trouble several times. If a mysterious woman in Taoist robes hadn't suddenly appeared and wiped out the beasts by herself, I probably wouldn't be able to come back now. I heard that the mysterious woman in Taoist robes is the head of Tianren Pavilion. Is this true? When saying this last sentence, Yuan Dongji's eyes moved to Lu Juanmu. Lu Juanmu nodded, it's true. Yuan Dongji was extremely puzzled, what is going on? It's like this. Lu Juanmu patiently explained to Yuan Dongji. First introduce Qi King Mo's origin. Then introduce how she was resurrected. Finally, introduce her personality, strength, and position. Not much introduction, all very superficial, at most Yuan Dongji can only have a general understanding. There is nothing to do about it. After all, Lu Juanmu himself is not very familiar with Qi King Mo. He only knows that the other party is very powerful and is on his side. Apart from that, I don't know much about the others and I'm not sure. After briefly introducing Qi King Mo, Lu Juanmu said to Yuan Dongji, in fact, when it comes to understanding the Pavilion Master, Zichen and King Han should know more than me, because whenever the Pavilion Master is on Earth, he basically lives with them. Hearing this, Yuan Dongji immediately turned his head to look at the two and asked, how much do you two know about the Pavilion Master of Tianren Pavilion? Can you tell me? Lin Zichen took a sip of flower tea and said, Hanan and I know about the Pavilion Master, which is basically the same as the Dean. There is nothing else to add. Yuan Dongji, then this Pavilion Master of Tianren Pavilion is really mysterious. Lu Juanmu stroked his beard and said, normal. After all, the strong are mysterious. It is impossible for them to tell us everything. It is enough for us to know that this strong is our own. There is no need to know more. Yuan Dongji agreed with this, then this is true. After speaking, she looked at Shen Qinghan and said, come with me to the office of the Academic Affairs Office. I exchanged a daffodil gene for you to enslave in the source to further enhance your mental strength. Thank you, Master. Shen Qinghan didn't know how to respond, so he could only say thank you. Soon, the two left the institute and walked towards the administrative building. Lin Zichen didn't follow them, and chose to stay in the institute to impact the acupoints. One of the heart and brain acupoints has been opened. Now, the body acupointment is to be opened. Time flies. In a blink of an eye. More than half a month has passed. The semester is over. Lin Zichen ushered in the summer vacation of his freshman year. At this time, he has opened a total of 4 acupoints. 2 heart acupoints. 1 brain orifice. 1 body orifice. At the same time, the biological level has evolved to the advanced 6th level, only 1 step away from the advanced high level. After a rigorous strength test, Lin Zichen felt that under certain circumstances, he should be able to match the strong man of the rare first level. Compared with the previous period, his strength has made great progress. And Shen Qinghan, who is inseparable from Lin Zichen, has also opened 4 orifices. 1 heart orifice. 2 brain orifices. 1 body orifice. The biological level has evolved to the advanced 5th level. Closely following Lin Zichen's pace. Not too far behind Lin Zichen. Strange, why has it been so long, and the pavilion master hasn't come back yet? On the bed, Lin Zichen moved his waist and abdomen, frowning and muttering. He was worried that Qi Qingmo would get into trouble in the source, and worried that he would lose a big backer because of this. Under him, Shen Qinghan's forehead was covered with fine sweat, and her voice trembled slightly as she said. The pavilion master is so strong, she will definitely be fine. The pavilion master must have made some discovery in the source land and found a way to return to the peak, so she stayed in the source land for so long. Maybe when we see the pavilion master next time, the pavilion master will have returned to the peak. In fact, Shen Qinghan was also worried that Qi Qingmo had an accident in the source land, but when she saw Lin Zichen was so sad, she had to restrain her worries and said some nice words to comfort Lin Zichen. However, no matter how many nice words she said, Lin Zichen was still worried. After finishing in bed, Lin Zichen picked up the mobile phone beside him, clicked on Yuan Dongji's WeChat avatar, and contacted this Miss Yuan who had a wide range of interpersonal relationships to see if she knew the situation in the source land. They contacted for about half an hour. Yuan Dongji asked for him in the relevant group of strong men, asking those who had been to the source in recent days whether they had seen Qi Qingmo or heard of Qi Qingmo. Then, nothing was found. In this regard, Lin Zichen could only pray in his heart, praying that Qi Qingmo was fine in the source. Soon. A week passed. On July 8th, Shanghai University, which was in summer vacation, suddenly became lively. It was Tianren Pavilion recruiting new members. From the students who were admitted to Shanghai University this year, a group of geniuses with strong physical talents were recruited. In the past, Tianren Pavilion's recruitment was deserted, and Lu Zhuanmu had to leave the school and visit students one by one, begging them to join Tianren Pavilion. But now everything has changed. Because of Lin Zichen's living brand, a large number of geniuses with extremely strong physical talents took the initiative to come to Shanghai University on this day, making it clear that they wanted to join the Tianren Pavilion and join the ranks of pure-blood humans. Where's Lin Shen? Isn't Lin Shen here? I flew all the way here just to see Lin Shen, but Lin Shen was not here. This is too uncomfortable. Why are you so anxious? Once you join Tianren Pavilion, you will have many opportunities to meet Lin Shen in the future. In front of the Pure Human Research Institute, hundreds of geniuses with extremely strong physical talents gathered and bustled. The Lin God in their mouth refers to Lin Zichen, the representative figure of the pure-blooded human race. Because he worshipped Lin Zichen, he made him a god. Everyone, please be quiet and line up according to serial numbers. Each team can queue up to 30 people. Once we've lined up, we'll go to the gym for a physical strength test. Lu Zhuanmu stood in front of everyone and shouted loudly. As soon as the sound came out, the geniuses immediately lined up in an orderly manner, waiting to go to the gymnasium for testing. Seeing that the geniuses were all lined up, Lu Zhuanmu didn't waste everyone's time. He quickly followed several teachers from the martial arts academy and took these geniuses to the gymnasium for testing. Inside the research institute, Song Yuan stood in front of the window, looking at the hundreds of geniuses densely packed below, and couldn't help but ask Lin Zichen, who was sitting on the sofa behind her. Zichen, these geniuses below are all your fans. Why don't you go down and show your face? Forget it about showing your face. Once they successfully join the Tianren Pavilion, there will be plenty of opportunities to meet in the future. Lin Zichen said casually while pounding the acupoints. Song Yuan said with a pity look on her face, I see there are a lot of pretty girls down there. If I were you, I would definitely go down and show my face. As soon as she finished saying this, she continued, but your Hanan is so beautiful, so you must not like other girls. Lin Zichen smiled and said nothing. Shen Qinghan was beside him, and he didn't want to talk about these topics in front of Shen Qinghan. Many people say that once a man eats up a woman, his love for her will become weaker and weaker until he gets tired of it. Lin Zichen didn't feel this way at all. For Shen Qinghan, he would only fall in love with her more and more. Time flies. From morning to night in one go. Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan are still tempering their bodies and are not wasting any time they can practice. After working all day, I finally finished this year's recruitment work, but I'm exhausted. Lu Zhuanmu came back from the gymnasium, shouting that he was tired, but his face was full of smiles. Song Yuan stepped forward and asked, Dean, how many people have been recruited? You guess. Lu Juanmu said with a smile. Song Yuan, do you want me to guess? Seeing that this older leftover girl didn't make any guesses, Lu Juanmu stopped showing off and said with a smile, you may not believe it when I tell you that I directly recruited 166 people. So much. Song Yuan was shocked. Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan felt nothing, their faces were calm. Lu Juanmu looked at the two people and said with a smile, Zhang Yi's original goal was to recruit 100 people. Now I have directly recruited 166 people. I have successfully completed the task. You two will be able to enter the origin soon. Finally we can enter the source. Lin Zichen's heart moved slightly. He has been looking forward to the origin for a long time and wants to see the world called the high-end version of Earth. At the same time, I also want to see how powerful the so-called alien-level genius is. I hope that the Pavilion Master, whom I haven't seen for a long time, is not in trouble in the origin land. Instead, he is too busy occupying land in the origin land to serve as king and has no time to come back. He can continue to be my backer. Lin Zichen thought silently in his heart. P.S. Set the bowls, please recommend monthly tickets. End of chapter. Chapter 237 Dimensionality Reduction Strikes at the Alien Genius. Origin, City Number 1. The 28 members of the alien-level genius team all gathered in a large training room. Everyone was gasping for air, their bodies covered with sweat, and their faces looked exhausted. Apparently he had just finished a high-intensity training session. In front of this group of alien-level geniuses stood a bald man with sharp eyes. The bald man is a rare high-level expert in City Number 1. He is responsible for conducting special training for the 28 people in the alien-level team to further enhance their strength. At this moment, the bald man looked around at the alien geniuses in front of him and said in a loud voice. Today's test results are both a surprise and a disappointment to me. The surprise is that Kyungsu's progress is so great that I am shocked. Before participating in the special training, her strength was only ranked 13th in this 28-person team, barely in the middle of the pack. But after a month of special training, her current strength ranking in the team has been improved to 9th, and she has successfully ranked in the top 10. You know, she is only 19 years old now, and the oldest one among you is already 29 years old. In this team of alien geniuses, the youngest captain of the team was 25 years old. I am very optimistic that she can break this record. The bald man was full of praise for Luo Kyungsu and had high hopes for her. Listening to these words of the bald man, the other 27 geniuses except Luo Kyungsu felt a sense of urgency and great pressure in their hearts. Every one of them is a genius among geniuses. From childhood to adulthood, he has always been an unparalleled existence that other people his age can only hope to achieve. But even though they were so dazzling, they were somewhat eclipsed in front of Luo Kyungsu at this moment. There really is no harm without comparison. TCH, she's not from Earth, so there's no point comparing her to us, it's meaningless. A female genius in her early 20s muttered softly. When the bald man heard this, his brows suddenly furrowed. He looked at the female genius and lectured in an extremely serious voice, Zhao Zixuan, what are you talking about? Why is it meaningless to compare with others? Do you know that our Earth's biggest enemy has never been an alien beast or an alien plant, but an alien who is very similar to us? If we are no match for the aliens, how can we fight against them? The reason why the superiors are willing to provide you with so many rare evolutionary resources is to enable you to catch up with the aliens. Zhao Zixuan, if you dare to say such mindless nonsense next time, I will apply to the higher authorities to reduce your evolutionary resources and distribute the evolutionary resources to the people who deserve them. When Zhao Zixuan heard what the bald man said, she immediately looked nervous and said, Instructor Lan, I was wrong. I will never say such things again. Lan Tianbei ignored Zhao Zixuan, turned to look at Luo Kyungsu and said, Kyungsu, work hard and strive to become the youngest captain in the history of the team. Luo Kyungsu responded as if her words were precious. She doesn't like Lan Tianbei. Lan Tianbei often uses her alien status to irritate other people in the team, which makes her already unpopular with others even more unpopular. As an instructor, Lan Tianbei knew that Luo Kyungsu had objections to him. But, he didn't care at all. His mission is to make the alien-level geniuses in the team stronger, not to make these geniuses like him. Besides, the reason why the people above are willing to accept Luo Kyungsu, a strange person, is to stimulate the young geniuses on the earth and get them to roll up, thus creating a silver carp effect. Zhao Zixuan, Yao Yuan, He Shidao, Nangang Liuyuan, Huang Xing, Qian Yifei, Bai Ji, the 7 of you will stay and practice more. Everyone else can leave. Go out of the city to experience when you should go out to the city to experience. Don't stay in the city doing nothing and wasting your time. Lan Tianbei said to the geniuses in front of him. After everyone heard this, except for the 7 people who were named and left behind, everyone else walked outside the training room. Among them, Luo Kyungsu walked the fastest. She didn't want to stay any longer, she just wanted to be alone. As she walked, the two young men in the team were chatting while walking behind her. Luo Kyungsu has evolved too fast. He obviously just reached the advanced 6th level some time ago. After only 1 month of special training, he has evolved to the advanced 7th level. It's simply terrifying. Zhao Qingxian, a tall young man, looked at Luo Kyungsu's back in front of him and couldn't help but sigh from the bottom of his heart. The short young man beside her, Zhang Tao, said in a calm voice, "It's scary, but the two of us are not necessarily worse than her. We have advantages that she does not have as a stranger." Zhao Qingxian, indeed, as Earthlings, our bodies are extremely tolerant and can carry out genetic fusion, but as a foreigner, she cannot do this. Zhang Tao said with a calm expression, "Don't look at the fact that our progress is not as fast as hers now. When our biological level evolves to a rare level and can integrate the genes of higher level alien beasts, our strength will increase by leaps and bounds and we will directly throw her away." Zhao Qingxian, this is inevitable. The big and small kings in the team just chatted with each other, and they all firmly believed that they, whose biological level was as high as advanced 9th level perfection, would not lose to Luo Kyungsu. It didn't take long. Except for the 7 people who were left behind, everyone else left the training room. Lan Tianbei said to these 7 people, "You 7 performed too poorly. You have practiced for a whole month and you can hardly see much progress. From today on, you all have to stay in the training room for additional training. When you are qualified, you can leave. Do you understand?" "Understood." X7. The 7 people said almost in unison. Lan Tianbei nodded, "Just understand. Although the evolutionary talents of the 7 of you are high, your current strength is too weak to support you going out of the city for solo experience. You know, the strange beasts outside will not wait for you to grow slowly. If they see that you are not strong enough, they will tear you apart on the spot. Until my strength improves, I will practice more in the training room. A genius who has not grown up is not called a genius. Do you understand?" "Understood." X7. The 7 people said in unison again. Lan Tianbei nodded with satisfaction again, and then said in a loud voice, "I will test you again in 1 month. I hope everyone can pass by then." More than half a month later. Earth. Shanghai University. Institute of Pure Humanity. Lin Zichen sat cross-legged on the rooftop of the research institute, bathing in the breeze and hitting his acupoints. During this past period, with diligence, he successfully opened another brain aperture and a body aperture. As of today, a total of 6 acupoints have been opened. The heart aperture, brain aperture, and body aperture each have 2 opened. As a result, the biological level has evolved to the advanced 6th level of Dzogchen, and it is estimated that it will evolve to the advanced 7th level soon. More than half an hour later, Lin Zichen finished the attack on the acupoints and wanted to stop and rest for a while. He took out his cell phone from his pocket, intending to read the news and learn about recent current events during his break. When I opened the news app, someone happened to send a message on WeChat. He clicked on WeChat and found a message from the secretary of Lieutenant Governor Ye Yongsheng. The content of the message is roughly that he and Shen Qinghan have now met the requirements for entering the source. 3 days later at 8 am, a special plane will come to Shanghai University to pick them up and go to Kyoto, and then enter number 1 through biological channel number 1. City, join the alien team. Lindsay, what are you looking at? Shen Qinghan on the side had just finished attacking the acupoints. Seeing Lin Zichen looking at his phone, he couldn't help but curiously approached him and asked. Without waiting for Lin Zichen to answer, she finished reading the content on her phone and suddenly said with a look of surprise. "Ah! Will we enter the origin land in 3 days? Why so sudden?" She was both looking forward to and worried about entering the origin. Looking forward to the new environment inside. Fear of possible dangers. It was quite sudden. Lin Zichen put away his mobile phone and said calmly, "After entering the origin this time, I don't know when I will be able to return to Earth. In the next 3 days, let's go home and spend time with our parents." Shen Qinghan, well, spend time with your parents? A blink of an eye. 3 days passed. Under the reluctant watch of his parents, Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan each carried a large luggage bag and walked quickly to the administration building on the inner campus. The two of them were going to the rooftop of the administration building to board the plane. "Mom and Dad can't see you anymore. Take down the duffel bag and I'll put it in the storage space." When he reached a deserted corner, Lin Zichen stopped and said to Shen Qinghan. Shen Qinghan did not take off the luggage bag, but shook his head and said, "Goodbye, I think it is better to carry it on my own, otherwise when we board the plane later, we will definitely be asked why we didn't bring anything with us. It's difficult to explain." 2. Lin Zichen nodded in agreement, thinking that he had not thought too much. Soon, the two came to the rooftop of the administration building. Yuan Dongji, Lu Juanmu, and Song Yuan were all here, and they all came to see them off. Zichen, Han Han, you two should pay attention to safety after entering the origin. Don't take risks just for a few evolutionary resources. It's not worth it. As a big sister, Song Yuan warned the two of them with concern. After she finished speaking, Yuan Dongji also spoke. Luo Kyungsu is a little autistic now and rarely communicates with others. When you two meet her, try not to be too enthusiastic at first. Well, I understand, Master. Shen Qinghan nodded obediently. Lu Juanmu looked at Lin Zichen and reminded, Zichen, after you go to the source and get acquainted, remember to inquire about the Pavilion Master and see what is going on with the Pavilion Master and why he hasn't come back for so long. Don't worry, Dean, I remember this. Lin Zichen replied. In this world, he cares more about Qi Qingmo's situation than anyone else. Qi Qingmo, who was extremely powerful, was the one he finally embraced, and she was the adoptive mother who could often bring him evolutionary resources. After entering the source, he will look for news about Qi Qingmo no matter what. Not long after, there was a roar from the sky. The special plane to take Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan to Kyoto arrived. It's a 10-seat helicopter. After briefly saying goodbye to Yuan Dongji and others, Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan quickly boarded the helicopter and flew to Kyoto, thousands of miles away. On the way, Lin Zichen asked Ye Yongshen's secretary, Secretary Zhang, is Lord Ye not here? Secretary Zhang said calmly, the Lord is very busy and can't be seen most of the time. The last time you saw him, it was just that he happened to be free. It's rare to be free in 10 years. Is that so? Lin Zichen nodded and didn't ask any more questions. In less than half an hour, the helicopter brought Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan to Kyoto. The speed was unbelievable. The helicopter landed directly in the military area guarding the number 1 biological channel. As soon as Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan came out, they were taken to the entrance of the channel. The road was tight and there was no extra stop. When they arrived at the entrance of the channel, the person who led the way turned around and handed a simple instruction manual to Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan, asking them to carefully read the precautions inside. Lin Zichen took the instruction manual and glanced at it, and soon memorized all the contents. None of them are new. The main point is that there will be boundary force repulsion in the source land. You may not be used to it for the first time, and you will feel dizzy and want to vomit. It will be fine after a few days of adaptation. In addition, there are some rules that need to be followed in the city of the source land, and how to adapt to life in the city. After all, the environment in the source land is very different from that on Earth. In the source land, many chemical reactions and physical reactions cannot be carried out, which means that it is basically a primitive environment without any technological equipment. It is not easy for geniuses like Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan who grew up on Earth to fully adapt to it. Geniuses like you two who entered the list of alien-level geniuses after adulthood are the first time I have seen geniuses like you two who have been guarding the number 1 biological channel for so many years. A guard at the entrance of the channel smiled and talked to Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan. Normally, geniuses who can enter the list of extraordinary geniuses have shown their talents at a young age and were brought into the source for training in advance. But entering after adulthood is unreasonable and incredible. After all, the growth of evolutionary geniuses is traceable, and it is rare to suddenly soar into the sky after adulthood. Is that so? Lin Zichen said perfunctorily without talking to the guard. After that, he closed the manual in his hand and said to the door in front of him, Hello, we have finished reading the manual. Can we enter the source? Of course. The guard opened the biological passage behind him and smiled and said, The future of the Earthlings depends on you. I hope you can evolve into legendary strongmen as soon as possible and become the mainstay of protecting the Earth. Definitely. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audio Wave. Lin Zichen responded lightly. Then, he and Shen Qinghan walked to the front passage to enter the source. Looking at the dark biological passage ahead, Shen Qinghan held Lin Zichen's hand nervously, feeling nervous, anxious, and fearful about the source she was about to enter. Lin Zichen sensed her uneasiness and gently rubbed her palm with his thumb to help her calm down. P.S. Put the bowls on the table, and ask for monthly votes and recommendation tickets. End of this chapter. Chapter 238 Geniuses on Earth? Let me see your strength. It was pitch dark inside the biological passage. There is no light. There is no sound. Walking inside, it feels like you are in a void and dark universe, dead silent, cold, and terrifying. I do not know how long it has been. Lin Zichen saw a bright light in front of him. He knew that he was almost reaching the exit, so he immediately pulled Shen Qinghan forward quickly. About half a minute later, the two passed through the biological passage and entered the legendary origin. The moment you step out of the passage, Lin Zichen could clearly feel an invisible pressure coming from all directions. It was so crowded that it felt like my whole body was wrapped in a sponge. The whole person was squeezed so much that it was difficult to breathe and felt uncomfortable. Is this boundary force repulsion? While Lin Zichen was thinking, he felt this invisible pressure carefully. Beside him, Shen Qinghan covered Cherry's little mouth with her hand. The look on her pretty face looked a little uncomfortable, as if she wanted to spit it out. Do you feel okay? Lin Zichen noticed Shen Qinghan's strangeness and said a gentle concern in his voice. Shen Qinghan calmed down and said in a weak voice, it's a bit uncomfortable. You may need to get used to it. After saying that, she asked, what about you, Lindsay, do you feel uncomfortable? Lin Zichen, I feel a little uncomfortable too, but it's okay. The words just fell. A guard responsible for guarding the entrance of the passage quickly walked up and asked, are they Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan? Lin Zichen nodded, yes, it's us. While saying this, he used his mental energy to peek at the guard's biological information. Very strong, a high-level powerhouse. On Earth, he is enough to serve as the dean of the School of Evolution in 2 major universities. Just a guard, the biological level is as high as advanced. The saying that the strong ones are all in the origin is indeed true. The guard pointed to an office on the side, please go over there and register the basic information. Someone will take you to the dormitory later. Good. Lin Zichen responded, and then he and Shen Qinghan followed the guard's direction. Within a moment, the two of them walked into the office. There are several women working in the office. As soon as Lin Zichen came in, he radiated mental energy and instinctively took a peek at the biological information of these women. The biological levels are all high level and low level, lower than both him and Shen Qinghan. The office is full of clerks, so it is normal for the biological level to be low. Are they Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan? The woman leaning against the door saw the two people walking in. She immediately stood up and smiled enthusiastically, come here to register your personal information. Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan went up to register information. There is not much information to register, it is all basic information such as age, height, weight, biological level, etc. After filling it in 3 or 2 times, Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan just found a place to sit in the office, waiting for the relevant person in charge of the alien team to come and pick them up. While waiting, the women in the office frequently talked to the two of them, trying to get close to them. The two of them are extraordinary geniuses, and their future prospects are immeasurable. This will make your face familiar and be remembered by the two of you, which may benefit you a lot in the future. About 10 minutes later, a dashing woman walked in. The first time she came in, the woman walked in the direction of Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan, and asked them in a cold voice, are they Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan? Yes. Lin Zichen replied. At the same time, he peeked at the woman's biological information and learned that the woman's biological level was as high intermediate. From the time I entered the place of origin until now, everyone I met was a high-level expert. The origin is indeed a world for the strong. You two come with me. After the woman finished speaking, she turned and left the office. Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan stood up and followed them out. Along the way, Lin Zichen kept looking around at the surrounding environment. The number 1 city where he is now is the first stronghold established by the people on Earth in the origin, and it is also the largest stronghold today. It is understood that city number 1 covers an area of approximately 100 square kilometers. It is equivalent to a small county town with a smaller area. Surrounding the city is a 100-meter-high wall made of unknown ore to isolate the outside world. There is a layer of light blue halo in the sky above the city, covering the city like a big shot and sealing it. Inside the city, there are forests, lakes, fields, and various natural landforms. It is a small ecosystem that can circulate independently. Lin Ziai, do you still feel uncomfortable being rejected by the world force? Shen Qinghan asked as he walked. Lin Zichen felt it after hearing this, and found that his body was very relaxed, and the previous discomfort of difficulty in breathing was gone. So he said, I have completely adapted to it, and there is no discomfort at the beginning. Me too. Shen Qinghan said, I feel much better now, I'm just a little dizzy, and I no longer feel nauseous. The woman walking in front couldn't help but smile when she heard the conversation between the two. The world force in the city has been weakened, so it's normal to adapt quickly. When you encounter the real repulsive strength of the world force outside, you still have to adapt. Not long after he finished speaking, the woman brought Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan to a building and stopped. It is a wooden building, made of various special wooden materials. It looks simple, but in fact it is hundreds or thousands of times stronger than reinforced concrete houses on Earth. This building is the dormitory building for you alien-level geniuses. The dormitories inside are all very basic cubicles, basically just for sleeping. As the woman spoke, she took out 2 keys from her pocket and handed them to Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan, and then said, your dormitories are 309 and 310 respectively. They are in the innermost corridor of the 3rd floor. You can go up and have a look now and make some simple arrangements. Well, I understand, thank you. Lin Zichen took the handed key and thanked him. Shen Qinghan also thanked her and said in a soft voice, "Thank you, sister." The voice of sister made the woman who was nearly 50 years old so beautiful that her ice-like young woman's face was suddenly filled with a smile. Soon, the woman put away the smile on her face, pointed to a building similar to a gymnasium not far away, and said to the two of them, "When you two finish checking out the dormitory, you can report to the special training building. Someone will arrange for you to join the team of alien-level geniuses." After saying these words, the woman turned around and left without saying a word. In terms of enthusiasm, she is completely opposite to the women in the previous office. Except for the moment when Shen Qinghan called her sister, she behaved very coldly at other times and had no intention of getting close to Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan. After the woman left, Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan walked into the dormitory building together. I entered dormitory 309 and dormitory 310 successively and walked around inside. About 50 square meters in size. There are living rooms, bathrooms, toilets, and balconies. But they are all small and crude. As for the furniture, there is only a bed, a table, a few chairs, a wardrobe, and a relatively large locker. Nothing else. Lin Ziai, the dormitory here is so shabby. Shen Qinghan said after walking around the dormitory. Lin Zichen said lightly, "It's really simple, but it doesn't matter. We came here to improve ourselves. We just need a place to spend the night." Shen Qinghan nodded in agreement, "Yes." After saying that, she continued, "Lin Ziai, I want to live with you. Do you think we can apply to connect the two dormitories so that our two small dormitories can be combined into one large dormitory?" Lin Zichen, "This should be no problem, but it is best not to make demands as soon as you come. It is best to wait until you have shown enough potential before making demands to the people above. This will give you more confidence." He has been a genius since he was a child and has done a lot of making requests to people above him. That Shen Qinghan could be in the same school and class with him in middle and high school was a request he made to the school leaders based on his status as a genius. "Lin Ziai, this time it's up to me to make this request to the people above." Shen Qinghan was full of motivation and said, "Now I am no longer the little kid I used to be. I have grown into an extraordinary genius who can stand on my own. I will definitely amaze people here in the future." Lin Zichen smiled and said, "That's for sure." These words are not encouragement, but facts. Lin Zichen believed that with Shen Qinghan's talent, sooner or later he would be able to amaze everyone here in the origin. Just when he believed it in his heart, Shen Qinghan on the side silently closed the doors and windows of the dormitory and drew the curtains. After doing this, she turned around and walked back, with her hands behind her back and said with a smile, "Lin Ziai, I sensed that there is no one in this dormitory building now. Should we strengthen our relationship here?" Hearing this, Lin Zichen couldn't help but twitch the corners of his mouth slightly. This little dirty girl is really addicted. In such a strange place, I still want to do that. Is this still the same Hanan who was submissive and didn't dare to speak loudly when meeting others? This has completely evolved into Chen Ruhan. "Lindsay, come on." Shen Qinghan held Lin Zichen's arm and said coquettishly. Lin Zichen couldn't control himself when he heard her sweet voice. Immediately, his five senses were widened, and he was always paying attention to the movements of anyone within a kilometer radius, and then he cautiously started making love with Shen Qinghan in the dormitory. He is a man. And the true nature of a man. It's normal to lose control under Shen Qinghan's seduction. Because the situation was special and too exciting, the two of them ended it in just a few minutes. It's not like in the dormitory of Shandong University, where you do it for at least 3 or 4 hours. "Lindsay, it feels so exciting. We can try to play like this more in the future to experience the relationship enhancement in different environments." Shen Qinghan was sitting on the bed, swaying her white and tender legs, like an innocent little girl, but at this moment, her petite lips were speaking extremely dirty words, and the contrast was extremely strong. Lin Zichen raised his hand and pinched her small mouth, and said angrily, "It's okay to dirty it appropriately, but you've gone too far." Shen Qinghan corrected, "This is not dirty, this is fun." Lin Zichen, Okay, it's fun, everything you said is right." Shen Qinghan saw that he was a little bit weird, and immediately became unhappy. She pouted her little mouth and said dissatisfiedly, "You were so excited when you just started to deepen our relationship with me. Now that we are done, you will start to become a saint. You are such a dog." "Haha, it is indeed a bit doggy." Lin Zichen admitted it directly and openly, showing off his shamelessness. Shen Qinghan rolled his eyes at him angrily and decided not to do anything with him for the next few days, suffocating him to death. About 10 minutes later, Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan cleaned themselves up, packed their clothes, and went out together to the special training building not far away. The woman from before said that after the two of them finished looking at the dormitory, they could report to the special training building and someone would arrange for them to join the alien-level genius team. At the same time, the first floor of the special training building. Lan Tianyun is the instructor of the current alien-level genius team. At this moment, he is arranging the 7 geniuses who performed poorly in the last special training to be tested to test the effect of the special training in the past month. These 7 underperforming geniuses are Zhao Zixuan, Yao Yuan, He Shidao, Nangang Liuyuan, Huang Xing, Jian Yifei, and Bai Ji. Today is the time to test the results of your special training in the past month. I hope all 7 of you will pass smoothly and don't let me down again. Lan Tianyun looked at the 7 people in front of him and said. The 7 people shouted in unison, "Understood, I will not disappoint Instructor Lan." Lan Tianyun nodded, and then briefly introduced the test levels to the 7 people. Today's test has 3 levels. The first level is the alien plant level. We have to deal with a large number of alien plants. After passing the alien plant level, you can enter the second level, the alien beast level. As for the third level, which is the final level, this is kept secret. What you should note is that before entering the final level, you must advance separately. You cannot advance as a team. Once you form a team, it will be deemed a failure. That's all I have to say. You can explore the rest by yourself and find your own way to pass the level. Having said this, Lan Tianyun stretched out his hand and pressed down on a stone pillar in front of him, activating the runes engraved on it. As the runes on the stone pillars lit up, the next second, a hole opened in the wall connecting a large forest in front. When the 7 alien-level geniuses saw this, they immediately rushed in, all trying to race against time to be the first to clear the level. Not long after the 7 people rushed in, a strong man over 2 meters tall led a pair of very good-looking boys and girls in. Instructor Lan, these are the 2 geniuses who were personally named by Lord Ye to join the team of alien-level geniuses. Now I leave them to you. I have something to do, so I will leave first. After saying these words, the strong man turned around and left without staying long. Lan Tianyun looked at the pair of extremely good-looking boys and girls, looked at them for a few times and then asked, "Are you the pair of geniuses from Shanda University, Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan?" "Right." Lin Zichen nodded. Shen Qinghan didn't answer, Lin Zichen's answer was her answer. After confirming the identity, Lan Tianyun didn't talk to the 2 of them anymore. He directly raised his finger to the front wall and said lightly, "I just happened to be doing a strength test for the 7 alien-level geniuses in the team. The 7 of them have just entered. You 2 should also go in and take the test together. Let me see your strength. P.S. Set the bowls, please recommend monthly tickets." End of chapter. Chapter 239 Take the test. Speed pass. The edge of the forest. Zhao Zixuan, Yao Yuan, He Shidao, Nangang Liuyuan, Huang Xing, Jian Yifei, Bai Ji. These 7 alien-level geniuses who participated in the test were chatting casually. "What do you think the final level will be?" Zhao Zixuan, who had a bun, asked. He Shidao, who was also a girl, said, "The first level is alien plants, the second level is alien beasts, and the third level is definitely aliens. Aliens are the biggest enemy of the Earthlings. The strong men in the city captured many aliens and imprisoned them in special detention rooms for research. Occasionally, these aliens would be used as touchstones for the younger generation to train the younger generation. No matter what the third level is, I will defeat them all and be the first to pass it." The young man named Nangang Liuyuan said this in a cold tone. Then he flashed and rushed into the forest first. "Hehe, with me here, you still want to take the first place?" The young man named Huang Xing sneered and also flashed into the forest. Seeing this, the remaining 5 people also rushed into the forest one after another. "I'll go in the middle. I'll go this way. Then I'll go this way." As the voices fell, the remaining 5 extraordinary geniuses rushed into the forest from different directions and disappeared. On the other side, at the entrance by the wall, hearing that they had to go in to take the test, Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan felt a little surprised. However, the 2 did not think too much and walked in. But before they took 2 steps, Lan Tianbei behind them stopped them. "Don't worry, you 2, I will explain the rules of the test to you first." Lan Tianbei continued, "There are 3 levels in this test. The first level is the alien plant level. The second level is the alien beast level. The third level is the confidentiality level. Before entering the third level, everyone must move forward independently and not form a team. Okay, these are the rules, go in." After speaking, Lan Tianbei waved his hand and asked the 2 to go in quickly. Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan didn't waste time and walked quickly into the entrance on the wall. After watching the 2 people go in, Lan Tianbei turned around and walked upstairs, going to the rooftop to use a special telescope to overlook the forest and observe the performance of the 9 people in the test. There is no monitoring equipment here at the source, so we can only observe with human eyes. Soon, Lan Tianbei went to the rooftop. Just as he picked up the telescope and prepared to observe the performance of the 9 people in the forest below, several figures with extremely strong pressure passed by from high in the sky. Lan Tianbei looked up and found that it was the city lord Qin Chuan and a group of high-ranking officials in the city. And when Lan Tianbei looked up, Qin Chuan in the sky was also looking down. Qin Chuan saw several extraordinary geniuses who were undergoing tests in the forest, and couldn't help but say to the two people behind him. Old Jian, old Bai, I heard that your grandson didn't perform well last time and was left behind for special training. Now your grandson is undergoing tests in the forest below. It just so happens that we don't have anything to do now. Do you want to go down and take a look? Go and take a look. That kid says every day that he has made great progress after a month of special training. I'm going to see how much progress he has made. Coincidentally, my little grandson also said that he has made great progress and will definitely be the first. How about a competition? Okay, then I'll bet you 10 grams of source crystals. 10 grams is too little, how about 100 grams? Come on. After a few simple conversations. Soon, Qin Chuan and others in the sky landed at high speed on the rooftop of the special training building below. Lan Tianbei didn't expect these leaders to suddenly land. He thought something was wrong and suddenly became nervous. He felt very uncomfortable. After a moment of recovery, Lan Tianbei hurried forward and shouted to each leader in a very respectful tone, City Lord Bai, City Lord Shang Guan, Chief Teacher Chen, Captain Zhang. The City Lord was called the City Lord, and the Deputy City Lord added a surname in front of the City Lord, focusing on a high emotional intelligence. The leaders did not say anything, but simply nodded in response. Qin Chuan walked to the edge of the rooftop, overlooking the forest below from a high position, watching the test situation inside. In order to make it easier for others to see, he thought of radiating his mental power and used mental projection to present the test screen in the forest in front of him. Old Bai, your Bai Ji is not good, the progress is too slow, and it's almost countdown. A leader named Jian looked at the forest test screen in front of him and said to the deputy city lord named Bai next to him with a smile. Jian Yifei, the grandson of this leader named Jian, is the fastest progress among all people at present. Moreover, it is a gap. He is likely to be the first person to pass the level. Deputy City Lord Bai said calmly, the front is fast, but it doesn't mean the back is fast. Old Jian, you are too happy too early. As the City Lord, Qin Chuan agreed with the Deputy City Lord's words and said with a smile, Old Bai is right. Some people are good at dealing with alien plants, and some are good at dealing with alien beasts. Old Jian, it's easy for you to fail in the first half of the game. Failure? Not likely. The leader surnamed Jian stroked his beard and said with a confident smile, to be honest, my little boy just merged a rare alien beast gene last week. His strength has improved by leaps and bounds. Now he is definitely the best among the following people. The Deputy City Lord surnamed Bai raised his eyebrows. Oh? What kind of exotic animal gene is fused? The leader surnamed Jian smiled and said, don't worry, you will know when you see it later. The Deputy City Lord surnamed Bai also smiled and said, it's quite mysterious. I want to see how much progress your grandson has made. Don't be slapped in the face later. At this time, a female leader next to him, that is, the Deputy City Lord surnamed Shang Guan, said lightly, don't underestimate others, my little grandson Nangang Liuyun is no worse than your grandsons. When the leader surnamed Jian heard it, he smiled and asked, then does the City Lord Shang Guan want to gamble too? The Deputy City Lord surnamed Shang Guan smiled and said, since I said it, then of course I have to gamble. I can't afford more source crystals, but if it's only 100 grams, I can still take it out. When the leader surnamed Jian, the Deputy City Lord surnamed Bai, and the Deputy City Lord surnamed Shang Guan were betting. Qin Chuan, the City Lord, suddenly noticed two unfamiliar faces in the forest. He looked at Lan Tianyun and asked, why are there two young people I don't know in the forest? Who are they? Others followed Qin Chuan's gaze and saw a pair of young men and women who looked very good in the projection screen. They were also confused. Who are these two people? Why do they look so unfamiliar? Facing the leader's doubts, Lan Tianyun replied respectfully, replying to the City Lord, these two are the two geniuses that Yazozu mentioned before to join the extraordinary genius team. The two geniuses mentioned by Yazozu. Qin Chuan murmured in a low voice, and then asked, are they the two geniuses from Shanghai University? Lan Tianyun, yes. Qin Chuan nodded without speaking, his eyes fell on Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan in the picture. He was very interested in the two geniuses that Ye Yongsheng named to join the extraordinary genius team, and was curious about what was so outstanding about these two geniuses that made Ye Yongsheng pay so much attention to them. Unlike his interest, other leaders were contemptuous. Especially the leader surnamed Jian and the Deputy City Lord surnamed Bai, these two people are full of prejudice against the geniuses who grew up on Earth, and at this moment they are talking about Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan with contempt. The leader surnamed Jian said lightly, geniuses like this who grew up steadily on Earth are all flowers in a greenhouse, the product of the monkeys becoming the kings in the mountains without tigers. This time, I came to the source, and I am 100% going to be frustrated. I hope these two people will not be hit so hard that they doubt their lives and never recover from it, but they will know shame and then be brave, turn shame into strength, and work hard to improve themselves. The deputy city lord surnamed Bai smiled and said, it's not that they will never recover from it. The genius who can be favored by Lord Ye must have a good character. Qualified ones will definitely learn from their mistakes and become braver after being hit. However, they who have been the kings of the earth and have won countless awards will probably be hit hard when they see the strength of the geniuses who have been tempered and grown in the source land since childhood. If nothing else, they will have to be at the bottom of the team for at least 1 or 2 years before they can slowly adapt and recognize their position. When talking about Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan, except for Qin Chuan, the city lord, other leaders all looked down on these two geniuses who grew up on earth. It's not that they looked down on them for no reason. It's that they looked down on them with reason and evidence. First of all, normally, the top geniuses all show amazing talents since childhood, and then are selected by the human high level and sent to the source land for training early. Those who are not selected are not outstanding enough in evolutionary talent. From this point of view, the geniuses on Earth have already lost at the starting line. Secondly, the source is a high-end version of the Earth, with far more opportunities and risks than the Earth, which further widens the gap between the geniuses who grew up in the source and those who grew up on Earth. To put it simply, the geniuses who grew up on Earth are top students in ordinary classes. The geniuses who grew up in the source are top students in Tsinghua and Peking University classes. The difference between the two is like heaven and earth, and there is no comparison. On the other side, the edge of the forest, Lin Zichen looked at some traces in front of him and judged which directions people had walked. He immediately said to Shen Qinghan on the side, no one has walked here, you go into the forest this way, and I will go next to you. Shen Qinghan nodded obediently, well, I know. Lin Zichen, then let's go in now. Shen Qinghan, okay. The two did not chat too much, and soon separated into the forest and began to join the test. After entering, Lin Zichen immediately radiated his mental power to sense the situation in the forest. Every flower, grass, and tree, including Shen Qinghan who was not far away, and the 7 extraordinary geniuses who had entered the forest earlier, were all within his perception range. 4,396 meters. 3,348 meters. 2,800 meters. 2,209 meters. 2,200 meters. 1,557 meters. 1,024 meters. Lin Zichen murmured, reading out the distance between the 7 extraordinary geniuses in front of him and himself. The value was accurate to every meter. Hey! Suddenly, Lin Zichen frowned. He found that he was being spied on. The source of the peeping was on the rooftop of the special training building behind him. Isn't it that instructor who was spying just now? The peeper is very powerful. There is someone else peeping. Thinking, Lin Zichen looked back at the rooftop of the special training building behind him, focused his mental power there, and soon sensed the peeper, Qin Chuan. The first time he sensed the peeper, Lin Zichen immediately used danger sense to peek at Qin Chuan's biological information. But after peeping for a while, he couldn't see anything. The biological level gap between the two was too big. Lin Zichen's danger sense could not work on Qin Chuan. At the same time, Qin Chuan, who was far away on the rooftop of the special training building, was deeply shocked. As the lord of the number 1 city, he was extremely powerful and could block most of the perception methods. But just now, the mental power he radiated was actually sensed by Lin Zichen. This made him feel a little unbelievable. A genius in the spiritual system. Interesting. As expected of the genius that Ye Yongsheng saw, he really has some skills. Qin Chuan thought to himself, and quickly turned his attention to Shen Qinghan on the other side. After seeing Lin Zichen's extremely strong spiritual perception ability, he now wants to see Shen Qinghan's ability. After observing for about a few minutes, Qin Chuan thought to himself, is that little girl also a genius in the spiritual system? But her spiritual strength doesn't seem to be particularly strong, not enough to be selected into the alien-level genius team. There should be other special features, observe more and see. In the forest, Lin Zichen retracted his spiritual power that fell on the rooftop of the special training building and began to focus on breaking through the levels. The first level is the alien plant level. Everywhere he looked, there were all kinds of strange and bizarre alien plants. There are towering alien trees covered with vines. There are alien flowers with bloody mouths. There are alien grasses covered with poisonous thorns. These aggressive alien plants are like roadblocks at this moment, growing crazily on every inch of land, blocking the way forward. Faced with these difficult alien plants, Lin Zichen had an idea, and used the 2 biological attributes of Higher Spirit and Forest Lord at the same time, instantly controlling all the alien plants within a radius of 100 meters. Then, he turned on the speed pass mode and rushed into the depths of the forest at a high speed in the shortest straight line. As Lin Zichen kept approaching, the alien plants that originally acted as roadblocks uprooted and made way for Lin Zichen to pass smoothly. 4,000 meters. 3,000 meters. 2,000 meters. 1,000 meters. While sprinting at high speed, Lin Zichen silently counted the distance between himself and the first place in his heart. In less than a minute, the distance between him and the first place was shortened from 4,396 meters at the beginning to 1,000 meters now. At this speed of closing the gap, in just 20 seconds, he will be able to overtake the first person in the front and enter the second level first. P.S. Put the bowl on the table, and ask for monthly votes and recommendation votes. End of this chapter. Chapter 240 Speed Pass. Shocked everyone. 20 seconds passed in a flash. Lin Zichen passed the alien plant level without any injury and came to the second level of the alien beast level. On the other side, Special Training Building. On the rooftop, Qin Chuan and other leaders in City 1 were shocked to see that Lin Zichen passed the alien plant level without any injury in just over a minute. Their faces were full of disbelief. What's going on? Why didn't the alien plants in the forest attack him? They even uprooted themselves to make way. Could it be that he, like the pagans of the Divine Plant Church, has merged the genes of the wood spirit? No, he is a pure-blooded human who has tempered his body. He has not merged the genes of the alien beast and cannot have the ability of the wood spirit. So what is going on? Just when everyone was puzzled, Qin Chuan, the city lord, frowned slightly and gave his own opinion. It's mental power. That little guy named Lin Zichen has extremely strong mental power. He should have used mental power to suppress the alien plants around him, and then used mental power to move the alien plants that blocked the way away, thus creating an incredible scene where the alien plants actively moved away to make way. When the others heard this, they were all shocked. If it was really as Qin Chuan said, how strong was Lin Zichen's mental strength? Advanced? Close to the rare level? But how is this possible? Many spiritual gene fusions cannot have such strong mental power when their own biological level is still at an advanced stage. And Lin Zichen is just a pure-blooded human who has taken the path of body tempering. No matter how strong his mental power is, it is impossible for him to surpass the spiritual gene fusion. Does he have a special physique? Sheng Guanyuehua, one of the deputy city lords, murmured after thinking for a while. After hearing this, several leaders around him also thought that it should be Lin Zichen's physique that was special, so his mental power was ridiculously strong. Otherwise, there was no way to explain the scene in front of him. In the forest, Lin Zichen, who had already entered the alien beast level, did not know that the leaders on the rooftop regarded the effect of his lord of the forest as a simple strong mental power. He did not care at all how the leaders analyzed him. Now, he just wanted to show his strength well, so as to obtain a large amount of evolutionary resources support. For this reason, whether it was the ultimate physical body or the ability to devour alien beasts to obtain biological attributes, he no longer hid them. He chose to show them all without reservation. As for being too aggressive and being attacked by people, this matter was no longer within his consideration. Because now he has already been targeted by people. No matter how low-key he is in the future, he will still be attacked. In this case, it is better to show himself crazily, so that at least he can win more evolutionary resources. Crystal Demon Bear, Advanced Level 5. Iron Eagle, Advanced Level 4. Unknown Beast, Advanced Level 3. Unknown Beast, Advanced Level 2. Death Silk Spider, Advanced Level 1. Lin Zichen radiated his spiritual power, carefully sensing the beasts in the second level, and peeking at their biological levels. He found that there were a lot of them. And they were all advanced creatures. The overall strength was very strong. If the difficulty of the first level was 3 stars, then the difficulty of the second level was 4 stars. The difficulty was directly increased by 1 level. So many advanced beasts, I don't know how many beast atlases I can open and how many precious beast cores I can get if I swallow them all. Lin Zichen was excited just thinking about it. Then he took a step forward and rushed to the beasts in the attack range at the fastest speed. No matter what kind of beast it was, he punched it hard and instantly blasted it into a ball of blood mist. Then he sucked the splashed beast core into his hand and put it into the storage space in the sea of consciousness. At the same time, he devoured its life source. You devoured a large amount of the life source of the Death Silk Spider /. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audio Wave. Thank you.